Hello.
Have we commenced?
Hello.
Can you hear me? Have we commenced in?
We have commenced in.
Can we get to 16? Oh, I love this. I love this poll. Can we get to 69 likes?
I'm
before
good at
the stream
polls.
begins?
I put it on all my resumes. I'm good at polls. I make killer polls.
Obviously, the goal here is for that top nice to get to 69,
Right.
and then the actual stream can begin, because then we have different layers of
A warp hole opens up.
yeah.
Pulls our stream to a higher tier of streams, like Olympus for the gods, but
A little bit of lightning going on. Kind of like you could just see. It's kind of like a black hole.
it's a lot like a black hole. It's a black hole. Let's be honest. I like your hat and your hoodie combo. You look like a cool bicycle messenger.
That's what I'm going for, is a bike messenger, just like a courier. That's
I like the corduroy hat with the yellow, green with the yellow, top tier fashion, but it does give bicycle messenger a little bit.
No, that's okay. This hat was given to me for free from somebody who sold me some recreational oregano on April 20th.
I know that you can't hear the music in your ears, but the music stopped right as you said that.
Oh,
it was
did it?
Perfect timing. You'll have to go back and watch it.
Yeah, it was something like
Can
we
you
left.
move your
with
camera
like an
just a
ounce
little
and
bit to
half
center you up in the screen? There you are. Hello.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, that's much better. Okay. How's everybody doing? We've got a night going right now. The goal, this should be your first goal, is we're all working as a team right now to get that top nice on the poll to 69%.
Yes.
And then we'll get into the bulk of what we're going to talk about tonight, which is a little 50 card set that I'm sure everybody has been talking about.
Jake
looking
said it.
at.
Hashtag 50 cards question mark exclamation point. If you type in hashtag 50 cards question mark exclamation point, we're going to run that as our little start of stream giveaway here, courtesy of our sponsor Dragon Shield. You're going to go home with some Tangerine Classics.
Look at the subject of the art on that Dragon Shield box right there, by the way. That is like,
we went to college with this guy, actually, and you know exactly who I'm talking about.
We did. And he has an orange cat that looks much like him.
Right.
No, this is crazy, because at this point now we have so many different Dragon Shield products that they're just like, yeah, we'll put just like crazy non-dragon stuff on everything.
Can we add horns? Yeah. Hell yeah. Tangerine.
Yeah, please do. You can add the horns of a ram, and you should.
Hashtag 50 cards question mark exclamation point. That's going to be our early bird giveaway. Thank you for being here at the top of the stream. Like Jake said, we got a lot to cover in the full review tonight. Travis Gafford, thank you for joining us. I'll see you right there. Tier list commanders. We're going to tier list every commander in the set. There's 21 of them.
Every commander playable kind of option. Is that what we're doing?
That's exactly right.
I like that.
We got 21 commanders to tier list. Then we've got our favorite new EDH cards, largely not including legendaries, because we're going to kind of cover all of those in the tier list. But there are some other cards in the set that sort of piqued mine and Jake's interest as far as commander playability goes. And then at
like
the
one
end,
card that's kind of obvious is Training Grounds. You know, we're going to talk about that card, but we're going to talk about other stuff that's kind of interesting too.
Oh yeah. We're going to wrap up the stream with a discussion about the most expensive singles in this set, what your chase cards are as you go to open it, what cards you're going to want to be selling if you open them as fast as you possibly can, and which cards may hold some value over time. Mega Brown, what's up? What's up, everybody? It's good to see all these green names in chat. If you want a green name and a little symbol next to your name, go ahead and become a member of the channel right there. And I do want to say, before we get into some actual content, that we are going to run the Patreon giveaway at the end of this stream. And so if you want to enter to win one of two $40 TCG player gift cards that we give back to our Patreon every single month, plus make you eligible for our Commander League and a lot of other cool stuff too, go join our Patreon. There's a link pinned at the top of the chat. You can join our Patreon at any time during the stream tonight, and we'll make sure you are in the giveaway for the 2 gift cards. I'm done. That's all of the stuff. I said it all.
Tim, Travis, Jared, Douglas, Himana,
Sound it out.
Lillian, Dirt, Zach, DJ Zam.
I like this.
I'm just reading all the different names. We got some Andrew Blank is here. I know that name. Zach G hanging out. Tyler, Jason, Darren, Christopher Snyder. So many of the usual suspects this evening.
What does everybody
Isaac,
think of this?
Sean.
Think of this set so far. You've seen the cards. Let's get a little early reactions.
I like Samantha. And
Hot or
Brian. Insomniac Zach is here.
AB present. DJ
Joseph.
Zam always present. Hashtag 50 cards question mark exclamation point. I'm going to run this without telling you in a little bit. Make sure you type it. Make sure you tap that like button. Get us rocking towards 169 likes.
Dr. Terror is here.
Oh my God. It's a
Emerald
sounds
Tail.
like a cartoon bad guy.
Emerald Tail 75 is here. We're going to chase them down and get their tail and pay for some new computers up in here. Trent hanging out. Black Elf
Is Booster. We know. We love the lurkers.
POA.
Everybody lurking. We love you. We love lurkers.
Kraken
Lurkers
Jake
make
is
our
here.
life. Here we go. Rolling it.
DNR.
Joseph Friedman, winner
Bobby Z.
of the Dragon Shield Tangerine Classics. Joseph Friedman, make sure that you DM me on Discord. Say, hey, I'm Joseph Friedman. I won the Tangerine Classics on the Aftermath review stream, and this is my shipping address. And if you give me the address...
1,034 hours. Oh my goodness.
What does that mean? Oh,
Until
Jesus.
LOTR pre-release. All right, you got
Go
me.
to-
I'll go do the math.
Go
I'll
ahead
do
and
the math.
write that down so that we can count to it. How's that going to help? I'll divide it by 6 and then count to it.
Jeez, it ends up being 43 days.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
That's a while.
Joseph Friedman, I saw you reply that you won. Excelente. Just make sure you DM me on Discord. Jake, let's take a look at some commanders. What do you say?
I would love to look at some commanders. I have the little hairs on my microphone are jumping into my nose.
Oh, God.
Yeah. The problem with the hairs over here is that they're jumping hairs. They jump. Floating, jumping. Oh, we got to 69 likes.
That means we are
This
ready
is
to
good.
begin. Chat, so what we've done
All right,
is
I'm
we have
super ready.
created a tier list of all of the new commanders in Aftermath. There are 21 of them, so we're going to do a short little discussion on each one and then give it a rank against the others. We are ranking these against the others in the confines of this game here. We're not worried if our S lines up to an S tier commander that exists. We want to know if it's S out of this group. So Jake, let us begin.
Yes.
Tazri, Stalwart Survivor. A white and 2 other for a 3/3 human warrior. Each creature you control has tap. Add 1 mana of any of this creature's colors. Spend this mana only to activate an ability of a creature. Activate only if this creature has another activated ability. And then 5, 1 of each. Wooburg there, tap. Mill 5 cards. Put all creature cards with activated abilities that aren't mana abilities from among the milled cards into your hand. So we've got activated ability deck with Tazri at the helm. This one has a lot of implications, I think, because the creature has to have an activated ability. You can only spend the mana that it's giving the ability for on activated abilities. But 5 to mill 5 and then put all creature cards with activated abilities that aren't mana abilities from among the milled cards into your hand seems very interesting. Lots of brewing potential.
It's 5 color, right? And here's the other thing about it is it's very cheap. It's a 3 cost commander. So I'm sure that there's some sort of sweaty build that can happen here. What are your thoughts on it? I'm kind of medium on it.
Yeah, I think it's better than a B. I think it falls firmly in A for me. I feel like
It's like very niche, but I'm sure that there's something absolutely busted that can happen with this.
that's what I'm feeling. Is I haven't sat down and brewed this commander, but there are enough activated abilities in the history of MTG to fill out a tribal quote unquote version of activated abilities. And you've got access to every single card that ever did it. And so I just feel like there's a broken build of this, or a very strong deck at the very least. And so to me, that makes it an A.
Yeah, I think I'm fine with an A. You know, I know that it's super sweaty, and I know that 5-color, you know, it's like a lot of CEDH decks like to look for commanders that are very low to the ground. I don't know if this has any sort of CEDH implications, but it is a pretty interesting card. Yeah,
DJ Zam in chat said, seem like some crazy untappy big mana sink abilities to abuse. That's what I'm thinking, is this gets really broken when things are tapping and untapping and retapping and untapping again, and you're just like dumping mana or reusing an ability over and over again. I think it's got a lot of potential. Jake, you actually picked this. Yeah, you picked this one for your favorite commander cards, but it's making it into the legendary tier list instead.
Yeah, Arni Metalbrow, 1 red, 2 other for a 3/3 human berserker. Whenever a creature you control attacks, or a creature enters the battlefield under your control attacking, you may pay 1 red and 1 other. If you do, you may put a creature card with mana value less than that creature's mana value from your hand onto the battlefield tapped and attacking. So this is just going to cheat out some crazy stuff, man. And if you're able to protect Arni and let it just sit there and act as this big crazy enchantment for you, you can just empty your hand if you play big stuff. It's like play everything else for cheap. It seems really strong.
Yeah, cheating is really strong, and honestly it just says put, and that is it. It doesn't have an end of turn qualifying phrase here at the end that gives it, you know, you must sacrifice it or return it to your hand or anything like that. I think the piece holding this back is that it's mono red. That's the issue here.
Correct. And that's the reason why on the other list that we're going to get to later on tonight, I actually picked it for the 99. I think it's great for the 99.
Yeah.
Like a big stompy, like a red-green deck or something like that, or like Jund, some sort of like ramp to big stuff. You know, imagine having an Eldrazi out and then attacking with it and just casting a cheaper Eldrazi or like Vigor or something for 2 mana. It just seems like a way to really be degenerate. So I would actually put it at, you know, for a commander, because it's mono red and there's other good mono red choices, maybe like a B. It's a good card.
I was feeling B. B.
I mean, it's like I like it for the 99. I don't like it at the helm of my deck. It's kind of like how I feel.
Plargg and Nassi make an appearance from Strixhaven here. 2 red, 3 other for a 5/4 Orc Efreet. Interesting creature types. At the beginning of your upkeep, each player exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card, so it's going to hit. An opponent chooses a non-land card exiled this way, so you pick one person, they pick one card, or chooses a non-land card exiled this way, got it. You may cast up to 2 spells from among the other cards exiled this way without paying their cost. So you get a little, the opponents get a chance to all sort of convene and say, okay, look, I think that we shouldn't let them have that card right there. But you can choose from the other stuff. The thing is it's going to present, it's like a tally in that it's going to present an option. You can't whiff on any of the tops unless it's just a card that sucks, like Counterspell or something in this case.
Yeah, this seems to be something that Wizards of the Coast is exploring more and more, which is like these, I guess we could call them Chaos Wand type effects, and now they're putting them on creatures, because it was like Chaos Wand, and then after that it was Wand of Wonder, which was one that hit everybody. Like, I liked Chaos Wand just because I could target one person who I think may have something that I could use, and it's just something to do. You're just rolling the dice. But this is like exactly like Atali. I've played Atali a few times now. It's pretty strong, man. It seems to kind of like, if you get Atali out, the value that you get from it is it's big value. So there might be something here, but as a commander, again, mono red, dude.
Yeah, it's rough. Yeah. This one is a C for me, just because number 1, mono red, number 2, 5 mana. And I'm not one of these like everything has to be 3 or 4 mana to be playable purists. Okay, I like casual commander. That's mostly what I play. Really strong
I think that's
casual
the best
commander.
commanders is strong casual commander decks.
Exactly. And so I'm not saying I would never build this. I'm just saying that it's sort of limiting, and it happens at the beginning of your upkeep, so it's a little slow, so it wouldn't be the first thing that I built. And so I think Plargg and Nassi lands at a strong C for me.
For me, that deck would literally be like playing bad Atali. It's like...
Right.
I mean, it would be an artifact pile. Try to get Plargg out as fast as possible, and then start getting value from it. And I would rather just have red-green and be able to ramp to something like that. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah. Next up, we have Nissa, Resurgent, Animist. 1 green, 2 other for 3/3. Landfall here on this Elf Scout. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, add 1 mana of any color. Oh, it's the Lotus Cobra effect.
Lotus
Then
Cobra on a Nissa!
It's good. This is Lotus Cobra in your command zone. Then if this is the second time this ability is resolved this turn, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal an elf or elemental card. Put that card into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. I just don't like that it's mono green, dude. But
Elf
we
Ball
did just get spanked
Elf
by,
Ball, yeah.
Yeah, we got spanked pretty hard by mono green recently.
Mono
and so,
green,
yeah,
big stuff trample, and Elf Ball decks have the tools that it takes to be competitive commander decks at this point. Green has everything.
I mean, there are very good elves. It's a highly supported tribe. It's an amazing
and there's just
type.
At this point in the game, green doesn't have a blind spot. Green just doesn't have a blind spot at all. It can remove artifacts and enchantments. It can remove graveyards. It can return things from its graveyard. It can draw cards. It presents huge threats. It ramps lands onto the battlefield. The small creatures are also mana dorks. It's just like, what?
The small creatures are actually also big creatures.
Yeah, exactly. And so it just
like the 2-cost green stuff ends up being like a 4/4 a lot of the time.
Yeah, I see it can fight to kill creatures. I see Kraken Jank in chat saying it doesn't wrath well, but it also has heroic intervention, and so it's even got a tool for that, versus some colors where they just don't have tools to deal with certain strategies. Enormous blind spots if you're playing certain colors monocolor. Mono green really doesn't. Anyway, this one,
shout out to POA who says, I wish it could take more advantage of the elemental. Well, let's just say this: it does get better the more green elementals that come out in the future. So it's like one of those cards that's like you could put it on the fine wine list, right? Because it's just going to age. Like, what if we do a highly elemental set the next time we go back to Zendikar or something like that? It's going to get better with all the green elemental stuff. So that can change. What we do know about Landfall is it's a very strong ability. Landfall is very good.
Super strong. And Lotus Cobra is
really
super strong, even in the context of Commander. I know some people aren't really into it, but I've only ever seen it just absolutely wreck face. Plus, every single turn, you're going to reveal until you get the relevant thing you need. It's not just flip the top, and if you're lucky, it's good. You're looking at a definite elf or elemental, depending on how you build it. Plus, the ramp is just insane, man. It's velocity and it's ramp on a commander. I feel like this is a mono green A, and I would want to play it, and I feel like it could potentially go to B. I don't feel like it's going to potentially go to S. You know what I'm saying? So it's like A teetering toward B for me.
This is just get it out ASAP. You should easily get it out turn 2. You may get it out turn 1 in some decks, but easily get it out as fast as possible. Yeah. And then every single time you ramp, you should be getting value from it. And so you don't have to build any sort of draw into the deck, because every time that you ramp, you should be just velocity, just digging through the deck. Yeah,
honestly, this lets you run a little heavier land package because you're able to dig past them with her ability, and you're able to guarantee that you're land falling every turn to take full advantage of all of the ability, because you want to be doing it twice a turn. That is really the weak part here, is that you've got to have some other card to help you play 2 lands. But
you know what's honestly really cool about it is they designed the card in such a way where you don't have to do elves. I mean, you do have to do elves. Let me say that. Let me say this differently. They designed it in such a way where you don't have to exclusively do elves, and they give you a little bit of flexibility so that you can put big elemental stuff in the deck as well, and grab that with the ability to. So yeah, I would be fine putting it at an A. It's pretty sweet. Are these the elementals that are?
I mean, top 8 are all playable. Let's see if top 12 are all playable.
Really good. Oh shit, Vigor. That's right. Vigor's an elemental. This is actually really good. This is really good. I would easily put it at an A because all it is it's another general that does everything you need it to, right? It's the engine. It's everything that you need on 3 mana. All you have to do in this deck is just play every ramp spell imaginable, and then you're just going to dig through and find all the stuff that you need.
Dude, so we're down far, and we're still playing. Like, this is the first row where I'm like, okay, I don't think we're going to run 3 of these. But like
Tim says, I knew y'all would settle on an easy A. Yeah. No, you're right. You're right, Joel.
Man. That rolls, man. That's an A.
It's good.
I like
Nissa.
It's good. That might be the one I build from this set. That's another thing we got to determine. Which commander do we want to build for this set to play on stream? Calix, Guided by Fate. Jake, you want to tell us about this one? Or did I tell you about the last one?
I did the last one, so you go ahead and do this one.
Calix, Guided by Fate, is 1 white, 1 green, 1 other for a 2/2 human druid. Whenever it or another enchantment enters the battlefield, put under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. And whenever Calix or an enchanted creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you may create a token that's a copy of a non-legendary enchantment you control. Do this once each turn.
Wow.
It's
pretty good. This is actually is this set going to be standard legal?
Yes.
It is, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so this card is amazing in modern Enchantress decks. This is amazing in modern Enchantress decks, in my opinion. It seems very, very good. It just hits in all sorts of different ways in that deck, but I don't know how good this will be as a commander. It's hard to tell.
I think that +1/+1 counters are underrated as a mechanic.
Yeah.
As a secondary
they
mechanic
get out of
like
hand
this,
really good,
right.
Really quickly.
When it helps you de-incentivize blocking, and there's always a player at the table that's got like just a 3/3 or a 3/3 and a 2/2. You know what I'm saying? Or a utility creature, 2 or 3 utility creatures that they don't really want to die because they're part of some multi-card combo that they're trying to pull off. And so this at the very least helps you get that combat damage through. Losing points though for it's gotta be combat damage that achieves this. This is like a battle enchantress deck. And
so is this just gonna be like hardened scales and doubling season and all that kind of stuff? I guess so.
I guess, dude, I really like Calix seems like an S to me. If instead of saying whenever Calix or an enchanted creature you control, if it said whenever Calix or a modified creature you control, so that it would count enchantments and that +1/+1 counter that you can put on stuff, then we're in business.
Creating a token that's a copy of non-legendary enchantment you control. If you're creating copies of doubling season and hardened scales and that kind of stuff, I mean, that can be kind of shenanigans.
There's removal spells, journeys to nowhere, stuff like that.
Yeah,
you know, O-Ring that you can copy and exile stuff.
I do like that they do this only once each turn. This might actually be very good.
Yeah, it seems like an A to me at the least. I don't think it pushes over into S just because it's got to be combat damage and it's in the 2 most annoying colors ever when they're paired together. I hate playing against green white. I think A is safe for Calix.
Yeah, I would go like B.5, but I'm fine with A as well.
I think it might move down to a B. I'm kind of with you there where I'm like, this tier's more
not
towards
bad.
B.
I don't think it's bad. I mean, the cards that are going to go in that deck as a commander are going to be all very strong cards.
Sure.
And it's only 3 cost, you know? So it's like...
You know, side note, it automatically goes into any enchantress in the 99. It's automatically better than at 100%. Least 1 card in that deck.
100%, yeah.
All right, Danitha, new Benalia's light. Love this art.
1 white,
look at this light.
1 green. Yeah, 1 white, 1 green, 1 other for 2/2 human knight. Vigi Trample Lifelink. Once during each of your turns, you may cast an aura or equipment spell from your graveyard. So it's green, white, graveyard. Yeah, I think because there is no black to help you fill up your graveyard. I mean, you could play stuff like Mulch, I guess. You could play a bunch of green cards that just mill stuff to the yard so that you could cast it and then take advantage of things that way. But it does need to be an aura or equipment. So
I like that she's got Vigilance, Trample, Lifelink. Those are really good keywords together.
Here's the thing. This to me seems like Voltron. This is probably how I would build the deck. Is I would just pitch as much stuff to the yard as I could using green spells, and then I would try to obviously cast the stuff from my hand, but then get as much out of that ability, because it does say once during each of your turns. I would just try to start casting stuff out of the yard as much as possible. But
she's got an inevitability to her, right? Too, because I like Tim C's point. If you're Voltron, you're losing auras to the yard real quick anyways, don't need black. So it's just like this commander that can Voltron up. You play it, you start dumping your auras onto it. Your equipments, if they destroy them, they'll also go to the graveyard. You can play those again. But every time Danitha comes back, you're just resuiting her with whatever you've pulled, whatever you've played. They've got to exile your graveyard.
Just like get Angelic Destiny back. Get back, the Lightning Greaves after it gets aced. Yeah, I mean, this seems good. It seems pretty fun. They do give you all of the... Yeah, keyword ready. That's right, DJ Zam. I would go solid B on this.
Yeah, me too. Just because it's even more combat related than Calix. I mean, Calix has to deal the combat damage, but we could potentially get a bird token or something suited up with one enchantment that'll return to our hand or something, and we can reuse it over and over again when the thing dies. And that can be
think of stuff like the cartouches,
right? Like
the green cartouche that comes with I think it comes with a 4/2, I believe.
I was thinking even
or no, that might be.
I was thinking.
No, I'm thinking of something else.
Like this stuff, like this, where you can pay 1 white to return it to its owner's hand at instant speed, and so as that thing dies, you can pay 1. Return it. Rancor, Sean Brown in chat. Rancor, that's a good one. Oh yeah,
of course. Rancor. And yes, Totem Armor comes to mind.
Yeah.
Anything that's going to be it brings value with it. Yes, that's going to be the kind of stuff. That might be fun to build.
We
that
like
seems
Calix.
like it.
Oh my god.
Let me say this before we get into Jirina, because this one actually looks, dude, this Jirina is so good in the 99. I don't know how good it is as a commander, but all of the creatures that we've seen so far are super sweaty. Look at how all of their converteds are so low to the ground.
They're pushed. They want people to buy this set, and so they're pushed. They've got to make cards that you need for standard. They've got to make cards that you want for modern. They got to make cards that the commander players play. If you're watching this after the fact, check out the other video that I'm going to talk about, but chat hanging out now, we're going to do the video later. I put a card in there specifically. It's okay, the card is, but the wording on it was so here's how we're going to print more and more commander cards into standard sets. It's just unbelievable. So yeah, you're right, man. It feels really pushed. They do feel a little sweaty. Even the damn Voltron commander, we're I don't know, it's pretty good. And so it's just gotten to a ridiculous point. But Jake, I don't think there's anybody here better and more prepared to discuss Jirina than you. So I'm going to go ahead and toss this one to you.
Well, this one's honestly, I'm really impressed with WotC because I almost feel like the complaint was heard and they made a really good Jirina here. 1 black, 1 white for a 2/2. When it enters the battlefield, exile target player's graveyard. Why not? Why not? And sacrifice it. Humans you control gain hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. So it's for humans. It's amazing as well for modern humans. This is such a staple in that deck, in my opinion. This is at least a 2 or 3 of in the sideboard. It just does everything that you want to do for that. As a general, I'm very medium on it, dude. I'm so medium. I mean, there's some good humans in white black. I think that there's a deck being able to give your stuff hexproof and indestructible on the general. That's what this is. This is a white black heroic intervention on your general. So
zone, right?
I mean,
plus a Tormod's Crypt. Those three things. I am very medium on it as well. I think this is a strong
human board
B.
wipe tribal. That's what people are saying.
Right.
Yeah, that's. I mean, exactly.
I think that this is a strong B. I think that three things all combine to make it a B. This is a Tormod's Crypt stapled onto a heroic intervention, given the human subtype relevancy, and then only costed at 2 mana out of the command zone. Plus, it provides you 2 colors to build with. Yeah. So all of those things together pull it up from a C to me, because it's just very, very medium for me. But I do think it's a very strong B. Gotta shout out, Zach made a good point in chat. Gotta shout out Christy Balanescu, the artist on this one. Jirina looks so fucking badass, ready to fight. I do not want to get like shoulder checked by her with those crystals. Ouchie! And I also just got to go back for a second. Randy Vargas knocking it out of the park, by the way, on the Danitha piece. Yeah. This is ridiculous looking. Absolutely insane. Randy Vargas is an absolute legend. Jirina, strong B?
B for Barina, I believe.
B for Barina, Dauntless General. Hey, this one's relevant to me. Dude, I'll do honestly, this one.
Okay, sure. I mean, it may even be like C territory, but let's just leave it at B. It is amazing for the 99, and because it's 2 CMC,
right?
It gets hit by so many spells that are like, Jake, bring back target permanent with converted mana cost, 3 or less.
Think how much this is going to absolutely shut off a deck at the table. How often is somebody playing a graveyard deck, man? And you just have ace that out of your command zone multiple times a game.
If you're playing humans and you're in those colors, you should be running it, because it's absolutely a heroic intervention for your stuff.
For sure. Jolrael, Voice of Zhalfir. A blue, a green, and 2 for a human druid 3/3. At the beginning of combat on your turn, up to 1 target land you control becomes an XX green and blue bird creature with flying and haste until end of turn, where X is the number of cards in your hand. Wow, it's still a land. Whenever a land creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card, because we are just stapling draw a card onto every commander nowadays. This seems so strong, it's ridiculous. You got to play land spells, you got to play draw spells, and then this card... No, you got to play land spells. Sorry, you got to play protection spells. Jolrael does everything else for you. Jolrael takes care of your creatures for you. Keep your hand full.
They put draw a card on so much these days.
Dude, you can make 4/4s that fly and have haste so easily. And this can come down in your main phase 1 and be creating a big bird ready to attack and draw you a card same turn. And so this is one of those Simic snowball commanders to me, where the first couple of times it happens, you're like, okay, I got pinged for 3 or 4 by a bird. That hurts. They got to draw a card, whatever. But by the 3rd or 4th time that's occurring, you're not even realizing their hand is staying at 7. They are developing more and more board state, just like you are. And you are slowly dwindling in your resources, and you have to answer all these flyers. This card seems nuts to me, and it's only 4 mana for all this.
Yeah.
And that's
LOL the big bird deck.
The last line of this, and then I'll pass it to you just because I'm so blown away by this commander. The last line of this doesn't even say triggers once each turn, or whenever land creatures, it lets every single land creature that connects draw you a card, is my point.
Yeah. So Chad is already saying stuff. I was going to say Sylvan Awakening. But Awaken the Woods.
And then there's
cards
other
like that,
support. Yes.
That are going to allow you to fill up your hand. So like, say, for example, in a scenario where you have 1 card in hand and it's Awaken the Woods, and you're able to cast Jolrael and just animate your lands and swing.
Right.
Then you're going to be able to fill your hand back up in one turn while dealing damage to people. So
run cards like this, turn your lands into 1/1 Vigi indestructible hastes.
Now here's the thing, is that animating lands kind of scares me.
Oh yeah.
because once they get aced, I mean, that's your mana base as well. So for
100%.
me, this is, I'm not super high on the card, though I do see how it's good. I do see that it's like, you know, if you have a handful of 7 cards, then you're just passively getting an extra 7/7 to swing with every time you get to your combat. You know, it's like...
And on the land front, you know, you can just run a bunch of land spells as well. This is a deck that doesn't mind if you overdo it a little bit on, you know, Nature's Lore effects, because you're, or any of the, you know, 3 visits, any of those. You can just run as many of those as you want to, because those are essentially creatures for you. It's basically go search a creature and put it on the battlefield. And
so I mean,
Jolrael,
other than that, you just build it big stuff, right? Just like generic good stuff, probably.
I mean, honestly, I'd put a bunch of ramp spells in there. I'd build protection into it, all sorts of like trickery and combat tricks and return to hand and deflect spells to other things, stuff like that. And it would just roll. It would just roll. So it's feeling like you're not on Jolrael at an S. Are you on Jolrael at an A?
Yeah, I mean, I would put it at an A. It seems like pretty good value. What I'm seeing so far is not a lot of cards that are just a straight up dud.
Yeah, no hardcore misses so far. But let's take a look at Kiora, Jake.
One blue, one green. Kiora Water Mommy. 1 blue, 1 green, 3 other for a 4/5. Merfolk Noble. This is a mythic. Vigilance Ward 3. Whenever you cast a Kraken, Leviathan, Octopus, or Serpent spell from your hand, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is that spell's mana value. You may cast a spell with mana value less than X from among them without paying its mana cost. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So kind of like we were talking about that C tier creature down there.
Yeah,
this is kind of doing something Arni. It's kind of similar to Arni in that you're casting something for cheaper based on mana value. This to me, Vigilance Ward 3, it costs 5. I think it's just insanely pushed Simic good stuff type thing. Like that's like kind of the vibe I get from it.
Yeah, I'm kind of low on this card because it seems super slow to me. I want this to be 3 or 4 mana, honestly. But you know, those Kraken, Leviathan, Octopus, or Serpents that you're casting can be so game warping in and of themselves. Maybe, you know, trying to ramp to 5 mana and casting Kiora and then ramping up then to cast another, you know, cast a Kraken, Leviathan, Octopus, or Serpent to get another one, so you get 2 basically every time you cast. If you don't whiff, which if you build it right, you should whiff not that much. It's just a little bit slow for me.
It's just, to me, it seems like Simic big stuff.
Right.
That's like
Simic stomping.
And how many times
it snowballs out of control, it'll be insane.
It does.
But I just feel like this one could potentially be a deck that's dead on arrival a lot. And honestly, man, I've gotten so low on Ward over the past few months as we've played more Commander. In League especially, Ward can be obnoxious, but there are a lot of times where it just doesn't matter, where they're going to play their 2 mana removal spell for 5 instead.
Yeah, I mean, Ward 3, that is an extra 3 on there. So, I mean, it does have some built-in protection. I would put it at probably like a B or a C. It's hard to put it at C. It's like strictly better than that thing at C.
Yeah, and you could potentially like cast this and same turn get your thing, but Plargg happens at the beginning of your upkeep, so everybody just knows it's coming. It is on the way the whole time. Nahiri, Forged in Fury. Now here's some colors I like to play. White, red, 4 for a 5/4 core artificer with affinity for equipment. So it can have that 4 reduced. Okay. It can also have its commander tax reduced. Whenever an equipped creature you control attacks, exile the top card of your library. You can play that card this turn, and you can cast equipment spells this way without paying their mana costs.
Oh my god.
Calling all Bobby Z's in chat. Bobby Z is
my goodness.
Bobby Z is our resident Wyleth player. Huge Wyleth Boros card draw equipment deck player. So I want to hear his thoughts on this one if he's around, but I'm looking at...
This is just the stupidest. This is so insanely busted.
This can come down for 2, up, as low as 2. And it immediately gets its ability because you can do it in main phase 1. So when you go to attacks, you're ready to trigger that top thing and potentially get another equipment onto the battlefield for free. Anything that lets you manipulate the top or like draw a card, put a card back on top.
Sensei's,
really helps you here.
Yeah, this is a deck for Sensei's top for sure, because imagine like putting high cost equipment on top to get for free. It's just nutty.
I see some people in chat saying, yeah, too bad it's a 6 mana. And I see Bobby saying, too bad it's a 6 mana. But like this affinity for equipment, I think is going to go much further than y'all think it will. And I know that there are now some token equipment creators. Token equipment.
Also, it's in the colors to protect your equipment too. You got Teferi's protection. You've got spells like that are going to allow you to protect your board and make sure that you're able to cast that easily.
Yeah, I mean, this is making all blood tokens you control equipment. I was
actually really surprised that Forging of the Tyrite Sword never really took off. That seemed like a good card.
Well, I think Nahiri is really strong, potentially a...
Oh, I think it's definitely an A. I think it's an A.
Yeah. I think after I play tested, it could potentially be an S.
You have to build it into like all equipment. Like the whole deck is just tons of equipment because you want to be able to cast it
so that you can equip stuff to them.
Yes, you need token generators other than just the general, because if they are able to remove the general a lot, then you're quickly in one of those situations where you're going, well, here we are,
Right, which will happen.
So,
but
yeah,
I mean, Bobby Z just said it. I had 16 Bloodthirst battle axes out last week. Nahiri costs 2 perpetually in that world. There's not a time you cast that commander and commander for more than 2 mana because you're affinitied out.
Right.
Let's look at Narset. Narset's always seemed to break the game. Does this one? That's the question.
Yeah. So white, red, blue, one other for a 3/4 legendary creature, human monk. Creatures you control have prowess. It's pretty good. Whenever Narset Enlightened Exile attacks, exile target non-creature, non-land card with mana value less than Narset's power from a graveyard and copy it. You may cast the copy without paying its mana cost. So, yeah, it's just extremely strong.
I mean, another Narset infinite turns.
Yeah. Creatures you control have prowess as well. Just, why not? I think the card is fine without that. But, whatever.
Yeah, dude, create a ton of goblin tokens. And you've got prowess on all of them. You're going extra turns with Narset's ability. You're recasting your extra turns you've already cast. I mean, this one seems like an S to me. Hey, real quick, Palumbo06 with the $20 super chat. Becoming tonight's stream monarch, all hail. Gotta hope we return to Tarkir in 24, says Palumbo06.
We probably will.
They've been making frames. They got frames for it.
Yo, I was just talking about Tarkir in the video that I'm editing, because Khans of Tarkir was kind of integral in setting up, talking about Battle for Zendikar and the expeditions, right? Because of the fetch lands.
Right.
And Tarkir came out in 2014, bro. So, like, at this point, it has been a long time since we've been to Tarkir.
Oh.
I think it is safe to assume that Khans would be coming back at some point.
Amonkhet and Tarkir are 2 on my list. I'd also like for them to revisit Alara somehow, but I think Alara may be completely gone. But yeah, Palumbo, thank you for the $20 super chat, and all hail the stream monarch. Many gratitudes to our stream monarch from last stream that was holding on to the title with a $60, and that was Zach G. All hail the outgoing monarch. So Narset Enlightened Exile, Jake. I have
Whenever
a
it
hard
attacks, you're exiling target non-creature, non-land card. with mana value less than Narset's power from a graveyard. So it is contingent on what is in your opponent's graveyards. I think that's kind of like holding it back from being an S. I think it's like
you just put whatever you want in your graveyard. I don't care what's in
sure.
their graveyard. That's just extra.
Yeah.
I'm casting extra turn spells and pumping her power up to 5 so I can recast them. With creatures that are prowessed 4 or 5 times each across literally all of my 1/1s.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
It just feels like this. It's
this
interesting.
Is probably the S. This is probably. I mean, it's in colors that are just shenanigans too. Yeah,
and to K-Spice's point, can be mostly anything. Enchantments, artifacts, instant sorcery is always good.
Yeah,
gonna be something good. I feel like it's interesting too because it takes a very specific build. You got to be pretty good at deck building, honestly, to build something that's going to really take advantage of this. It's not just, you started playing Commander, pull out your Narset Enlightened Exile deck that you found online and rock with it. That ain't gonna work. But with a pilot that knows what they're doing, this feels like the card here so far that I would just be sighing a lot when I played against it.
Jeffrey A. Thistle says, looking forward to the uncommon human ward card for Pioneer. I know that card. That card looks good. Actually, a couple decent uncommons in this. I know Pioneer isn't your thing, though. It's funny because we did the Pioneer Sleeper series when Pioneer was first announced, and it is a format that we kind of keep in our mind a little bit, and it is something that we have discussed possibly exploring on the channel because I know sometimes I talk about Modern. I like to keep up with Pioneer because it's like Modern light. You don't need some of the important Modern cards for it, but yeah, I'm excited for that card.
And the second
thank you for that $5.
The second segment that we're doing tonight, we actually have some uncommons on that list to discuss because you're right, there were some really solid uncommons in this set.
There are. Yeah.
Moving on from Narset, Nashi Moon's Legacy. And I got a question about this one. Are you saying
you go ahead and read this one?
Are you saying this is Tamio's progeny? I mean, are you saying that Tamio got jiggy with a rat? Let's move on. A blue, a green, and a black for a 3/4 rat shaman with menace and ward 1. Whenever Nashi Moon's Legacy, I'm going to call it Nashi Tamio's Dark Secret, attacks, exile up to 1 target legendary or rat card from your graveyard and copy it. You may cast the copy. So it is Sultai 3/4 menace ward 1. Whenever it attacks, exile up to 1 target legendary or rat card from your graveyard and copy it. You may cast the copy.
It seems kind of cool.
Yeah, it seems kind of cool. This one to me seems more like it's meant to be a constructed card, not a commander. Menace is a better ability than people give it credit for, though. So, I will give it some points for that. Legendary Reanimator, kind of. Except their tokens.
Really quick, I want to get this super chat before we miss it. Wolf Spain with the $5, throwing it back to Narset really quick, says Narset is a strictly better the Archimandrate deck. Also prowess stacks, yes. So anything that already has prowess like Monastery Mentor, yes, very true. Very true. You get the most out of other prowess stuff.
Wait, so you're telling me that is Tamio's son, Shane? You gotta be kidding me. Rock and roll.
I thought this was some sort of like, this was like an apprentice kind of thing. Yeah. Like teach me your ways kind of deal. Kind of like
maybe an adopted kid. I don't know. Maybe she's also into rats. That's completely fine. All the rats in here, I mean, all the MTG characters are kind of sexy anyway.
He's adopted. It's
an adopted son. But look, honestly, Tamio, if you want to go fuck a rat, rock and roll. Nashi Moon's Legacy, I think that I'm not high on this commander, really.
No, because it has to attack. It's like a Sultai attacker.
But it could reanimate something huge for free. The most expensive legendary. And it's a legendary card. Oh, you may cast it. You're not just getting it for free.
No, you don't get it. You don't get it.
You still pay its costs, Joel. Look, they even put 5 words on there just for you, Joel. Read the fucking card, Joel. You got 5 words right here that explains it, Joel.
Yeah, I think it's actually a C, dude.
I feel like this is a C. This is a C. Not big on it.
Break a leg. Have fun.
Not big on it at all. I just don't think that Nashi is where we want to be. But Niv-Mizzet Supreme looks pretty sweet, gotta say. Yeah,
flying hexproof from monocolored. Okay. It's Wooburg to get this 5/5 on the field. Each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard that's exactly 2 colors has Jumpstart. You may cast that card from your grave. Oh, that's right. You may cast that card from your graveyard by discarding a card in addition to paying its other costs, then exile it. Jumpstart, that was a Ravnica Allegiance mechanic, I believe.
Jumpstart is insane.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
So you've automatically got cards. Oh, I'm not searching them right here. What is that construct from the Kamigawa set chat that when you discard a card, you can play it that turn? Something like that. Does anybody know what I'm talking about?
I am not sure.
It's a new card from...
I am not certain.
There it is, Containment Construct. So any of these... So the commander says... It's got Jumpstart, right? Which means you can cast that card from your graveyard by discarding a card in addition to paying its other costs. So you run that alongside cards like Bag of Holding. Whenever you discard a card, exile that card from your graveyard. Whenever you discard a card, deals 1 damage to each opponent. Costs 2 less for each card you discard or slide. You know what I'm saying? And so you're running it alongside cards like that, like Containment Construct. Whenever you discard a card, you can exile that card from your graveyard. If you do, you can play it this turn. There's already so many.
I would build it Niv-Mizzet's big commands, and I would play all the splashy commands like Silumgars and Ojutais and all of those commands that they never get any sort of play. And that's what I would do. I would just jumpstart all the 2-color commands and like good 2-color. This is super casual, dude. I would put it at a B.
I think
it's super chill.
That hexproof from monocolor too, man. I feel like this is one that was going to shock you and be an A.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's not getting hit by Path and Swords and Beast Within, Chaos Warp, Murderous Cut, all of the like removal, most of the removal actually it's kind of immune to.
Yeah, and then getting your instants and sorceries back, meaning you can also cast them at instant speed. There's no other restriction on this, not just during your turn, so your counter spells are coming back, all your, Teferi's protection, stuff like that. I could see it landing.
The only reason I wouldn't put it at A is because it's Wooburg. It's like you got to have 5-color to get it out.
Yeah, for sure.
That's pretty tough.
I don't think it is that tough anymore, honestly, man. 5-color mana bases have so many tools now that's like, oh, it taps for everything. This creature makes it tap for everything. I mean, this artifact taps for everything.
There are things like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, even then, until you like get the graveyard online, it's just a 5/5 for 5, with
for sure.
a 5/5 flyer for 5. It's not bad.
No.
Obnix.
Captive Kingpin, dude. A red, a black, and 2 for a 4/3 demon with flying and trample. It says whenever 1 or more opponents each lose exactly 1 life, you put a +1/+1 counter on him, then you exile the top card of your library, and until your next end step, you can play that card. So you have to build it very specifically, right? It's automatically down into the A-B tier just because it's very specific. However, it really gives you some nice card advantage because that's whenever. This doesn't trigger once per turn. You can just ping all of your, ping anybody, grow Nixilis as a big flying trampling threat and get extra spells to be able to cast.
Chat saying another combo with all will be one, which is 2 red, 3 other for
that
whenever
enchantment.
you put 1 or more counters on a permanent or player. All will be one deals that much damage to target opponent, creature an opponent controls, or planeswalker an opponent controls. So,
super synergistic.
Seems pretty strong. Seems pretty strong.
Yep.
I would put it at probably an A, maybe like an A.5. It's red black flyer, flying and trample in red black, 4/3. They need to lose exactly 1 life, so it's like you can pestilence.
Yep. And damage will cause loss of life.
Sharpshooter.
So any of your goblin bombardment, any aristocrats style things, that's more where my mind goes, is, you know, Zulaport Cutthroat, Blood Artist.
Chat really thinks S here. Are you thinking S, Joel?
I think it's really strong just because there are so many aristocrat strategies. And it says lose life. It's not take 1 damage. And so it's going to count damage. It's going to count all instances of Blood Artist type effects. Lose a life, you gain a life. Like, we can do that so much. It just feels like there's already a lot of support for this commander. And so the fact that it's got backup.
It's just velocity. It's just going to let you play out your deck very quickly. It's going to let you dig.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can play the card.
Fine. Let's put it at an S. Why not?
You can do
I'm
lands.
fine with it.
Lands are viable hits there.
I think I'm like A.5 on it. I'm not seeing like the S straight up, but I do like drawing through my deck.
Yeah.
And this seems very easy to make that happen. So I'll go ahead and read this one. Pia Nalaar, Council of Revival. 1 white, 1 red for a 2/3 human artificer. Opters you control have haste. Whenever you play a land from exile or cast a spell from exile, create a 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying. This is the one that I am the least high on of the night. I would put this at a C just based on reading it. Very medium on this.
I would honestly put this as a D as a commander. Okay, so Thopter's having haste, dude. Fine.
I don't like this card.
Play a land from exile or cast a spell from exile. Okay, I know how we're gonna achieve that, but I have to have this out. I have to do the thing, and what I get for that is a 1/1.
I hate this card. I hate this card. Let's just put this at D and move on. Like, this card sucks.
I would prefer this be a 6-mana commander and have better text, but, you know, keep the same thing. Maybe Thopters you control get +1/+1 for each Thopter you control, so it's also a coat of arms to make your Thopters worth a shit in commander.
Maybe if you want to build changelings, that way all of your changelings can be Thopters. Then it goes to
just to give them haste? Just to give them haste?
Exactly.
I run that commander to give my changelings haste.
This card sucks. Let's just keep going.
Rocco, Street Chef, Naya across the top for 2/4 Elf Druid. At the beginning of your end step, each player exiles the top card of their library. Until your next end step, each player may play the card they exiled this way. So it gives everybody an extra card until your next turn, basically, until the end of your next turn. Says whenever a player plays a land from exile or casts a spell from exile, whoa, we need Pia Nalaar over here. Call her. She'll create Thopters. We will put a +1/+1 counter on target creature and create a food token. The payoffs for me aren't big enough to counterbalance the fact that you're giving everybody a card.
This is not that good, man. This is like a C for me. This does not seem that strong. Until your next end step, each player may play the card they exit. It's like group hug.
You want to play creatures with trample so you can grow them with the +1/+1 counters, and you're growing by 3 power on the board.
Part of their library.
I mean, you assume you're growing if all 3 players play their thing, including you get 4 power on the battlefield each turn across whatever you want. You got to think, let's shoot for the middle on that. Average, you're going to get 2. So every turn you're growing the battlefield by 2 power on your side, and you're creating food tokens, which we can do a lot with. So I think it avoids a C. And I think that there will be a way to leverage everything on this card against the goodwill that you're getting.
Yeah, I see a little bit here.
Right.
I do see some benefit for yourself. Yeah, I think we could go B on this.
Yeah, I think it's a B. I think that the benefits, I think that you'll be able to leverage the benefits that everybody gets against them, because they are not going to want to remove Rocco, and so you're going to be able to guarantee your strategy. And so if you build it where your counters and your food really matter.
You talked me off the edge on that one. Yeah. I was very quickly to be like, go to hell, Elf Druid, be banished. But I do think that there's some merit here.
Yeah, I think it's fine. Samut, Vizir of Noctamoon. I want to talk about this one because I want to build this one so bad. This is my life on a card.
1 green, 1 red, 1 other for 2/3 first strike Vigi haste. So kind of a throwback to the Samut that we saw back in Amonkhet. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, that creature entered the battlefield this turn, draw a card. So this is like a Fires of Yavimaya, a Fervor, Rhythm of the Wild. You want stuff to have haste in here.
Correct.
Including Samut already has it, but you're going to want some other enablers, Concordant Crossroads, stuff that just gives stuff haste, because when you play big things, you want to be able to swing with them the turn that they enter with this Samut. I think it's pretty cool.
If that creature entered the battlefield this turn is huge here, and not the fact that it doesn't say if that creature has haste, draw a card, because you get access to all of the mechanics like dash that put it onto the battlefield, it deals damage and then goes back to your hand. True. Any of the stuff that creates, like 3/1 tokens with haste and trample, sack it at the end of turn, all of those cards are super relevant in this. That turns that into refilling your hand. You just literally pack your entire deck with creatures and stuff that attacks the turn it enters, and when your hand gets low, sneak Samut in, have some damage happen, you're refilling your hand, you're passing, right? And so for me, I really like this. I think it's it's kind of a catch-22 of a commander, right? Because the strategy itself, hasty creatures, it can be fine. It can be really strong. It can probably win games, but not necessarily a top-tier strategy. However, for that strategy, this commander is top tier for that strategy. And so it kind of hits in a weird place for me. I really want to give it, like 3 mana. It's refilling your turn. It's got great keywords.
Here's the thing. I think it's a solid B, dude. I think it's not like a bad B where it's like, oh, it's a B. I think this is like a B that's like,
that's what
it's
I'm
just
saying.
a very good, solid card.
I want to give it an A so bad, but the strategy itself might not be strong enough, if that makes sense, to pull it up to an A. Sarkhan, Soul of Flame, little blue on a Sarkhan here. Have only seen that once before. Got a Teamer Sarkhan back in the day. Red, blue, 1 for a 2/4 human shaman. Dragon spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Whenever a dragon enters the battlefield under your control, you may have Sarkhan, Soul of Flame become a copy of it until end of turn, except its name is Sarkhan, Soul of Flame, and it's legendary in addition to its other types.
Oh, this is fun.
That could be very, very powerful. Just the fact that you can reduce... Think of all the great 5-mana dragons and imagine them costing 4. They will
there's
forever.
There's good blue dragons too, like Icefall Regent. There's some stuff that comes to mind. This is one of the cards that would go on the fine wine list because it gets better
every time a good blue or red dragon come out. Yep.
Exactly, dude. Exactly. And what's cool about it is it's kind of like a Voltron general where it's like play dragon, swing with Sarkhan. So it's like maybe kill one opponent with Sarkhan while you're using your dragons to like take everybody else down. Every time you play a dragon, have Sarkhan come out. If the dragon has a good attack trigger, then you're going to be able to get that attack trigger the turn that you swing with Sarkhan. So I mean, that's pretty sweet, dude.
That's what I'm saying.
It's like if
those
something
attack
has,
triggers, dude.
like Hellkite Charger, for example, is one of the best dragons that I could think of that has a really good attack trigger. Like if you're able to get value out of, I mean, for me, I would still run a couple effects like Fervor, like things that are going to give haste, because dragons with haste, it seems good.
Oh,
but yeah, like Goldspan. Goldspan is an attack. Ancient Copper Dragon, that's combat damage. So you could have Ancient Copper Dragon come out, swing with Sarkhan, get through, and then get a huge value off of getting Sarkhan in as Copper Dragon that turn.
Yeah,
so
and I think legendaries too, because the commander says, except its name's Sarkhan and it's legendary in addition. So it can become a copy of a legendary dragon because it's not going to have the same name. And so you can have Drakaseth Maw of Flames deal 4 damage to any target and 3 of up to 2 other targets when it attacks. You know, that can be replicated onto Sarkhan.
This is like Sarkhan's surprise, like pop-up buffet.
Because even if you don't have the haste enabler like you were talking about, you play Balefire Dragon, it hits, Sarkhan becomes a copy of it.
Right.
Balefire can't attack this turn, but Sarkhan can, and can hit for 6 and then deal 6 to each creature that player controls. So but it is just this tribe. It's not gonna like blow out. It's a really fun. I would
put it at A, dude. I actually like it. It's a 3-cost commander. It makes dragons cheaper, and it comes in as like,
I think it's on the same level as Samut as far as power level goes. Yeah, I think both of these are better than some of these, but I think that both of these are on about the same power level, because you're just doing, I mean, this isn't even refilling your hand. This is giving you that surprise thing, and it's reducing costs, which is nice.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think
we could disagree. We could agree to disagree. I think it could be an A or a B. I'm fine with them being either one.
Let's live here. We're gonna roll on chat. The people who have spoken in chat about it seem to think it's an A. Happy with it there. I think it's comparable to the all right, to the so
this one
attacker.
This one's pretty crazy. I'll go ahead and read this one. 1 white, 1 green, 2 other for Sigarda, Font of Blessings. It's a 4/4 flyer. Legendary creature angel. Other permanents you control have hexproof. So that's the asceticism right there.
Already
you
good.
may look at the top card of your library anytime. That's always good. And you may cast angel spells and human spells from the top of your library. So this for me is pretty much a top tier A territory. There's probably an argument for S, human angel commander. Yep. It's got the hexproof built in, so it's like, make sure you protect it, but it's asceticism for all of your stuff out of the command zone. It's really strong.
I actually think, and chat, I want to remind you, I've seen some comments in chat. We are rating these in a vacuum. We're rating these against each other. So we're not saying that if we say this commander's an S, that it's better than some existing S tier commander. We're saying it's S of this group. I think Sigard is an S of this group.
Yeah.
Asceticism on 4 mana, all permanents. You can look at the top card of your library, and that helps you cast angels and humans off the top. So it's velocity as well.
Yep.
I think that within this group, this is as strong as Narset returning your extra turn spells, and Nixilis being a fantastic Rakdos Aristocrats piece. I think Sigard is just very good. It's just very good.
Yeah.
Tyvar the Bellicose coming with some Thirst Trap art again. Green, black, 2 other for a 5/4 elf warrior. Whenever 1 or more elves you control attack, they gain Death Touch until end of turn. Fantastic ability. Completely deters wanting to block. Each creature you control has, whenever a mana ability of this creature resolves, put a number of +1 counters on it equal to the amount of mana this creature produced. This ability triggers only once each turn. Wow. So I need to check with you. Each instance of that only triggers once each turn, correct?
No, because it says each creature you control has. So each creature you control gets that that.
So can I, if I have 3 mana dorks on the battlefield, can I tap all 3 of them for mana, and they're all 3 going to get counters equal to the amount of mana this creature produced? Okay.
Yes.
That's what I thought. And the ability only triggers once each turn is to prevent you from infinite combos with it, right? Like untapping and retapping for 4 mana. Because they didn't want to automatically set you up for any of those creatures that say pay 2, untap this creature, and let it tap for, 3 for some reason. I'm just making sure I know exactly how this works.
Yeah, I don't know why he's a 5/4. That's a big elf.
This is, well, yeah, he is the warrior elf at this point in the story. This seems very strong to me. Mana dorks, any commander that's going to turn your mana dorks into threats. And I mean, the only real thing here is like you're going to have to run, and you have black in your commander's colors, so this is not going to be a problem. But you're going to need to run some card draw on the deck. You're not going to be able to really get any velocity out of the command zone here. But you're growing your line. This drops down. It's like once you have a board, I mean, just every time they tap for mana, they're growing stuff. I think this is a fun build.
I don't even really care about the top ability all that much, dude. Like, the top ability is fun. Elves are getting death touch. But for me, it just says each creature you control has, whenever a mana ability of this creature resolves, put a number of 1/1 counters on it. So I don't even think it has to be elves. It can be elves because some of the good elves, like Arbor Elf, Llanowar Elf, Horde Elf, are all really good mana dorks that I think would want to be in here. But if I were to build this, I would just build every single mana dork that I could into this, make sure it's always on the battlefield, and then keep tapping them for mana. Probably play like 10 good payoffs that are like big, like Eldrazi kind of like splashy creatures, but then just make sure Tyvar's always on the battlefield so that all of my mana dorks are always getting counters. And then I would do doubling season, hardened scales, stuff like that, so that every time they get a counter, they're getting extra counters. And then I don't know, I think it seems pretty casual, but it's probably fun.
I think a strong B here, honestly.
Yeah, it's a way to get the most out of mana dorks.
For sure.
Yeah, a B is fine.
We got one more left. Karn Legacy Reforged. 5 mana for a star. Power and toughness each equal to the greatest mana value among artifacts you control, so it's automatically a 5/5 because it checks itself. At the beginning of your upkeep, add colorless for each artifact you control. Mana can't be spent to cast non-artifact spells. So you can't dump it all into a, Torment of Hailfire. Until end of turn, you don't lose this mana as steps and phases end.
Oh, okay. So it's going to last through your combat steps. That's cool.
Yeah. So you can activate abilities of stuff with it. You can cast anything that's got artifact as a subtype. Obviously, if this is your commander, you're playing colorless tribal anyway. So you're probably running a lot of artifacts as it is.
Darksteel Forge comes to mind. Right.
This really takes you from that. Once you get into that 4 or 5 mana territory and you've got Karn out, this on like turn 6, you're going to have access to like
a ton of mana.
6 mana, 5 mana.
Just from artifacts.
And then you've got all your mana that you've tapped already. And so this effectively can double your mana by turn 6.
I think this is an Eldrazi commander.
I think this is start running like stuff like that, right? Exactly.
Yeah, I think it's an Eldrazi commander. You just do artifact pile, Karn, and then
I have a hard time giving this one S, chat. It's colorless, so you get access to like nothing. You got to do your strategy, and you got to do it fast because you ain't got anything else you're doing.
Yeah, I think this is artifact pile and ramp to Eldrazi.
Right.
I think there's other things to do, but that's probably what I would do.
I think it could be
I think it's an A.
Yeah.
It's probably an A. It's fine.
So here, as we get to the end, Karn is the last one we have, Jake. I want to propose...
Kind of pushed.
I want to propose that we take Kiora down to C and we take Arni down to C. And I feel like that is our list right there. We just rated these early before we got some of these A's and S's up here. And so I feel like, and even some of these B's, right? Like Rocco, just Samut and Tyvar. Samut and Niv-Mizzet alone are better than all 4 of these commanders. And they are on here, So I just think that this is where I would land. Would you change anything about this list?
No, it looks good. I think it looks good.
Chat, that is our tier list of all
Tim
of the...
says we're going to regret it. Tim says we're going to regret not giving that card an S. Well, we'll see.
We'll see, Tim. Maybe we'll see you in League. Build a card deck, kick my
legit.
ass.
I hope it's not legit regret. I hope it's not like the kind of like, oh my God, like I really wish that I had freaking rated that card an S, because things in my life have gone terribly since I rated it an A.
Doing these tier lists is always fun, but I gotta tell you, I've never thought about one after. Make sure you go down into the comments and let us know what you disagree with on this one, because I know that these always beget a lot of disagreement. Other than that, make sure you like and subscribe. Chat, don't go anywhere. That was all for the YouTubes. That wasn't for you. We've got more fun coming.
Hey, how many people do we have watching right now? Do we have people watching?
We definitely got to get to 269 likes.
Chat, come on. Help us get to 269 likes. It's going to be a crazy ask, because I'm sure none of you are even logged in. So you're going to have to go log in.
Oh my God.
You're going to have to click subscription.
Oh my God.
Which is a red button that's on YouTube's buttons. And then there's this other thing. What's the other thing? Oh, they have to hit like, because we have to get to 269 likes. Okay. So that was a fun segment. It went super long, but I do feel like we talked through the cards well.
Yeah.
Now the next thing that we're going to come up and talk about, what do you want to do next, Joel? You want to do the
our favorite commander cards?
Yeah, so we're going to do our favorite commander cards in a moment, where we're going to talk about cards that we will probably add to the collection. This is a small set, and if people are opening it, there are going to be tons of these cards going to the secondary market. We already saw some openings of this, where one person who opened the collector box, shout out to old school MTG, who had the Pinkertons set out after them, opened like 3 copies of Training Grounds. We've already seen Training Grounds go from $30 down to like $8 pre-sale. I would expect probably an adjustment further from that. Just proving more and more that the judges keep getting screwed over, man. The judges got Training Grounds as a
promo. Yeah,
as
it's
a promo.
Honestly, like, can we start watching the judge program promos and being like, oh, there's a reprint of that coming within 12 months?
They got Smothering Tithe, guys. It's confirmed in one of our Masters sets soon. But other than that, what was the other section we have that we're going to do tonight? We're going to talk about our favorite commander cards that we would add to the collection.
The most expensive cards.
Oh, and then most expensive cards as of right now.
Yeah.
So those are going to be sections that are going to be significantly less time, and that'll be some choppable stuff. Everybody, we hope you enjoyed that. If you are enjoying the stream, click like and subscribe. That's a great way to support us out. All hail the stream monarch Palumbo.
All hail
06. Thank you, Palumbo, popping in. And everybody, we do appreciate you hanging out on this Wednesday.
I'm having some internet issues over here. I'm going to, Jake, if you'll talk to people, I'm going to go take a quick bio and hope that they resolve themselves.
Great. When you get back, I will do the same. And then we can get ready for... Can we talk about girls? CJ Joseph. We could. What do you want to talk about? About girls. Hit the bell, says Sushi Yum Yums. Yes, that's right. There we go. We've crossed in the threshold of 200 likey wakies, which is short for likes. You know what's crazy to think about is willy-nilly. Have you ever heard that old, oh, don't be so willy-nilly about things. Willy-nilly, if it wasn't going by nickname, would be named William Nilliam. I think that pretty much makes sense. It's kind of like how I would put that together. I've been organizing the collection. I am finally getting rid of a ton of Battle for Zendikar. I put together a video that's coming out tomorrow, or maybe the next day, probably tomorrow. And It's about all of the money that I spent on Battle for Zendikar, and I actually went through and I found like 13 boxes worth of tokens, which is just like 36 times 13. That's how many BFZ tokens that I had. And it just shows how much like chasing those expeditions was such a poor choice, especially living in the all-time high of variance while also the economy being in the shitter. It's crazy, man. It's crazy, the adjustments of my collection. There are some folks in our Patreon that did the right thing, and they sold a while ago, preemptively before this big dip. Right now we've kind of entered into capitulation territory where you kind of just want to hold through, and hopefully MTG makes a recovery with the economy, which is what I think it will do. That reserve list is still staying pretty strong. Oh, Joel is back.
Heyo.
All right, so I'm gonna be right back, and then I'm ready to get into this next section if you want to do that.
Get it going.
All right, cool.
I really think that March is going to have some fun commander cards. I know it's kind of a womp of a set. I feel that way too. But, you know, they still want to sell their set. And so they're gonna do whatever they can to entice us to at least buy some singles. Brendo, I did not know that, nor do I really know what you're talking about. But I do believe you. And I believe in you. Don't forget, patrons, we're going to run the double gift card giveaway for the month at the end of this stream. If you want to join our Patreon, any level is going to enter you to also potentially win one of the $40 gift cards to TCG Player that we give away once a month to our Patreon randomly. You can enter that giveaway tonight. Just go join our Patreon. There's a link pinned at the top of the chat right there. Or you can type !Patreon into the chat, and it'll drop you a link. You can go there and check it out. Lots of cool benefits. The main one of which, in my opinion, is you're automatically eligible for our Commander League at any level. Commander League is a proxy-friendly league that we run over Discord via Spell Table. Proxy-friendly, like I said. You can win prizes. It's sponsored by Dragon Shield. Top 3 in any month wins you the 2023 Commander League sleeves, courtesy of Dragon Shield. And we also have 2 $40 gift cards to TCG Player every month through that as well. Nick Baker yoinking the Monarch. All hail. New stream Monarch. Nick Baker. All hail our outgoing Monarch. Palumbo 06. Palumbo, you've been unseated. All hail, Nick Baker. So yeah, definitely make sure you check out and see if you want to join the Patreon. Get into that giveaway here tonight that will run live toward the end. Dun, dun, dun. Anybody tired in chat? Let me see those Z's in chat. Z's in chat for the tired boys and girls. Nick Baker. All hail. Oh, we got lots of tired girls and boys in the chat tonight. Oh my goodness. Shoo, 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 shoo. Shoo, 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 shoo. It's 11 o'clock on the East Coast. We're going to, right as soon as Jake gets back, we're going to talk about our favorite new EDH cards. And then if we can ever get the internet on my side to catch back up, we will get most expensive cards going as a little in the stream segment. Trying to close things on my computer, see if any of this might be yoinking the internet. I mean, obvi, we're connected, right? Because you can hear me right now. I know we are connected because you can hear me. Lillian, baby's doing great. 8 months old at this point. and I've never been more exhausted in my life. But you know what? It's amazing to behold a baby learn to be a people.
Wait, what'd you say?
Somebody asked how the baby was.
Oh, nice. I see chat has some Z's. I'm sorry if people are falling asleep.
No, I said Z's in chat for all the sleepy boys and girls. I want to see who's sleepy tonight like me.
Oh,
so
I was like,
Z's
holy shit. I was like, man, I took way too long here.
No. Okay, so Jake, for some reason my internet's not opening up web pages right now, but
oh no.
I do have the segment prepped offline, which is a good thing, but I don't have Arni, Kiora. I don't have the legendaries that you picked in the list.
Okay.
Because I had put them in the other list, and I didn't talk to you beforehand, see if you wanted them in the 99 or if you meant them as commanders.
So you can't pull up web pages right now?
Yeah, it's really weird. I don't know what's happening.
Well, we could just do that thing and then kind of like go from there and see what happens.
That's what I think we'll need to do.
I mean, the thing is like I still need to edit, so if we do cut it early, that's okay too. But let's get through this segment.
We can do this segment and then see where we're at.
Yeah, let's do that. I like that.
Chat, I need everybody to say hey to YouTube right now.
Oh, hey YouTube.
You're gonna be able to see yourself on YouTube in this cut later.
Yeah, if you know what, I'll go ahead and edit this one down. So if you want to say something witty over there, the wittiest thing that pops up, I'll zoom in on it and you will have your name there. I see some witty stuff. I see someone said hi YouTube. Someone said hi. I see some hellos. Russell says the new Karn is going to play nice in Urza, Lord High Artificer.
207 likes. We can definitely pump those numbers up. 269 incoming is all I'm saying.
So let's go ahead and set this one up. We have our favorite March of the Machine Aftermath picks. These are cards that we are interested in picking up either as a commander or for the 99. We did do a tier list where we talked about our favorite commanders and we ranked them, all of the legendary creatures from March of the Machine Aftermath, which
Make sure you go check that out.
Yeah, go check that out. This is the epilogue product that is accompanying March of the Machine, comes on the heels of the previous set. And the idea is MTG's Infinity War was so massive and had so many big story points that this product had to be created as an epilogue to that, to kind of put a button on everything. And so we have a 50 card set. We've picked our favorite commander cards from that set, and we're going to talk to you about them today. So some of these are going to be Joel's picks. Some of them are going to be my picks. We're going to alternate back and forth. Let's get into it.
All right. The stage is set. The players are in their places. And we're starting with Filter Out. 2 blue, 1 other for an instant speed. Return all non-creature, non-land permanents to their owner's hands.
It's a mini Rift. It's a baby Rift.
I think that Baby Rift is going to be a highly played thorn in the sides of players for a long time to come. That's what I have to say about this uncommon.
Yeah, I think that it's easy to flash back to because it's so cheap. It's a pretty good card. This might make Snapcaster better, in my opinion. I don't know. It's pretty good. I know that it's non-creature, non-land permanents, but being able to bounce all the enchantments, all the other pesky artifacts, it's like a reset. And like, say something has hexproof because of a permanent that's on the battlefield, now you're able to bounce that permanent and then get at that creature. It seems like a very versatile, good utility card for blue. Dude, it's really good.
Pillow Fort decks absolutely fold to this, and then your attacking line swings. It's just so strong. I think honestly that this is so strong it leans more towards CDH than actual casual playable commander, because you're not going to get a lot of creatures there in CEDH, but you're definitely going to run into a lot of creatures in casual. And so, you know, it's kind of interesting where this one falls. I think it's an excellent new card, but it might be so powerful that only the top tiers are like, yes, it's very worth it for me to be able to return all the
once.
stacks pieces to their hand, and then get my combo going. So I think it's got a lot of potential.
Yum says it's meh. I don't think it's here's the thing is maybe it's not going to be as impactful as we think, but just based on the face level of the card, it seems pretty strong. Next card we have here is Blot Out, 1 black, 2 other. For an instant, target opponent exiles a creature or planeswalker they control with the greatest mana value among creatures and planeswalkers they control. So little instant speed removal, and they have to exile it. Creature or planeswalker, greatest converted.
And it targets the player. Dog,
the player.
I put this one on the list. It's an uncommon. I put this one on the list because anybody who watches us stream every time we stream knows that over the last 3 weeks, Jake has played an Atali deck twice. That Atali deck could have used a good answer multiple times, and targeting Jake to have him exile his most expensive creature may be pretty good.
Question: when Atali flips, is it's converted 0?
Oh, I wasn't thinking about flipping.
When a card flips, what is it?
I was thinking about trying to get around your like indestructible and swift foot and stuff like that.
No, mana value is the same. Okay, I wanted to check on that. Okay, yeah. So yes, this is a good card. I like targeting the player. I've always liked black removal spells that target the player. It makes cards that give the player hexproof that much better, because they're able to protect against cards like this. I think it's fine. Yeah. It's 9 times out of 10, it's going to hit the most annoying thing either way for 3 mana. So I think it's a fine card. I think it's a card that's definitely worth exploring. At 3 converted, it kind of gets into that range of like, is there something better? But it seems pretty good because it is exile, which means it's not going to the yard.
This is a meta play, and honestly, again, I just included this one because we've played Atali so recently, and that is I want to get a Blightsteel Colossus with Swiftfoot boots and win the game. And so
also we have a Praetor heavy meta too. And so a lot of the times this is going to get all of the Praetors that are really pesky, the Sheoldreds and the Jin-Kataxis and that kind of stuff.
Correct.
That's I mean, and also we say this sometimes, a lot of people will like to focus on their strategy and they don't put enough interaction in. I never hate having a removal spell. A removal spell sometimes is going to be the difference of like losing the game. If I'm able to remove one of the threats that's coming at me, that's great.
Death-Rattle Oni, Wayne Reynolds getting in on the set a little bit, and it looks like a beautiful Wayne Reynolds piece too. Love this demon spirit appearing through some sort of digital portal. 7 mana 5/4 flashing demon spirit. This is an uncommon. All right. Costs 2 less to cast for each creature that died this turn, and when it ETBs, destroy all other creatures that were dealt damage this turn. I just have to feel like you're going to be casting this for 1 mana quite a lot at instant speed, and any of your ping, any of your pestilence, any of your whatever suddenly becomes a board wipe with Death-Rattle Oni entering the battlefield. I just really think that this is going to be a 1 mana. I think this is very niche. We're here talking about our favorite commander cards from the set, not the most powerful. But I do think that this is one of the under the radar cards that people aren't really going to recognize. But I mean, Pyroclasm is suddenly a full board wipe for
think about it like this. You can build this into Pestilence.
Right.
And then what you can do for 3 mana, right, is you can wait, or you could just use the Pestilence to burn a couple things down to get it within range.
Right.
Or what you could do is you could wait until combat between opponents, wait for a couple things to die, Pestilence the board once, and then just cast your Death-Rattle Oni for like 1 black. So you could in theory do 1 tick of Pestilence and this to board wipe for 2 mana if you wanted to.
Vlad of Bloodbath in chat said, I like You're Already Dead more, but that's exactly what it is. It's a You're Already Dead for all other creatures that were dealt damage. I mean, let's say that somebody attacks with a huge line just to get rid of somebody's chumpers, and so the blocker chumps with all their 1/1s. They all die. If at least 3 of them have died, this costs 1 mana. You flash it in, destroy the attacker's entire board, and you get a 5/4 just to like be freaky and freaky deaky with. I just feel like this is a silly, fun, uncommon, and I really am going to find some applicability for it. And that's before we get into Reanimator strategy with this, because we can just return it and wipe everything again.
I just love it with Pestilence type effects.
Yes.
I just think, it's like you could wait for that big, battle moment and then just Pestilence everything and just clear this. And then you got the 5/4 hanging out afterward.
K-Spice with the note, cast this between first strike and regular damage.
Yeah.
Dude, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
For your line first strikes and then you cast this, their whole board's dead. I like that a lot.
And you said the art was beautiful, but I would kind of argue that it's horrifying.
It's beautiful in that it is convincing you it's horrifying. You know what I'm saying?
It's got as many legs as like a 6-legged thing.
I think it's got 8. It's 4 on each side.
Is it a spider?
I think it's some kind of spider thing. Plus it has a bunch of eyes.
6.
No,
I think it's got a big tail back there.
Look, 1.
Does it really have
2,
8?
3, 4 on the right side. You can put arrows in this as you edit it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the other side 1, 2, 3, 4.
So it's a spider.
And then it's got the eyes in the middle. Look at the eyes in the middle.
It's definitely a spider. This was supposed to be a demon spider, and it came out as a demon spirit. I guess a spider could be a spirit. That's fine.
Yeah, dead spider. Reckless handling is next. Tell us about reckless handling.
1 red, 1 other. For a sorcery, search your library for an artifact card. Swing. Reveal it. Put it into your hand. Shuffle. Then discard a card at random. Okay, so it's a gamble for artifacts. If an artifact card was discarded this way, reckless handling deals 2 damage to each opponent. So because this is also going to be modern playable, I could see this having implications and stuff like Hammer Time and that kind of stuff.
I'm telling you, man, this card is just good in my opinion. 2 mana tutor at uncommon. Yes, it can only get artifacts, but who cares? Plus, if you just get absolutely boned, it's 2 to everybody.
If you're running something that lets you get artifacts back from the yard, then you don't even really care if it gets discarded. You just needed to find it. Then it's essentially an entomb for that artifact that you tutored up.
Yes.
So yeah, it's an interesting card. I mean, it's a tutor spell.
Dosey said it perfectly. It's a tutor. Tutors are good.
Tutors are good.
Thumbs up.
That's right.
That's exactly right. Animist's Might. Another uncommon on this list that I like here. I put this one on here because Jake ignores green cards. Green and 2 other for a sorcery speed. Costs 2 less to cast if it targets a legendary creature you control. So Zach beating us up on Monday with a bunch of legendary trampling big chonkers. Already good there. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power, equal to twice its power to target creature or planeswalker you don't control. So 1 mana. I don't like that it's sorcery speed, but honestly, it would be broken in my opinion if you could just do this instant speed.
Yeah.
Because you're blocking, you're dealing damage. It's just nutso. But it could still be, I mean, it's just for a deck that might not have the removal spells that it wants. This is quite some green chonker removal spell here, being that a 3 power can remove a 6 toughness creature.
Yeah, it's pretty strong.
And it doesn't clap back.
It's pretty strong.
It doesn't. It's not a fight.
It's a one-sided fight.
Yes.
It's I think it's very good.
Yeah.
I think it's very good.
See, I can already see in chat, everybody has a deck that this is going in, and that's what I knew about this card when I looked at it, because people play Ram Through, and Ram Through is that one-sided fight type of card, but it's instant speed. This is sorcery, but the times that it's going to only cost 1 mana are going to keep this relevant.
Yeah, 1 mana at sorcery speed, I'm fine with it. I don't care that it's sorcery speed.
Yes.
It's just you do it before combat.
Right.
That's fine.
Friendo's exactly right. It's the twice the power thing that makes this super playable. I completely agree. If it was just the power, I'm like, it's fine. But that twice its power clause makes it really strong. Jake, this is one I put in here, and so we've been going back and forth, but let me take this one because I put it in here for a specific reason. The card itself is okay, This is not necessarily one of my favorite commander cards in the set. However, that first line of text on here, I think is very indicative of a design space that they are going to continue to put cards into in these constructed sets. X can't be greater than the number of players in the game. I think that this is very relevant because this means, okay, designers are sitting there going, how do we make cards for commander in every freaking set, but still make our standard sets viable?
That's a good point.
X can't be greater than the number of players in the game. So in constructed, in standard, this is not dump a ton of X mana and go get a ton of X lands onto your battlefield tapped.
Yeah.
It's 1. Maximum in the game, it's 5. Well, 3.
Also,
4. 4.
I'm just going to say, this is good. This card is good. I like paying 5 to reveal until I get 3 lands and then just put them on the battlefield.
It'd actually be 4. I wasn't counting ourselves because we would definitely count ourselves as a player in the game. And so you could potentially cast this for 6 to go get 4 onto the battlefield tap. That seems good to me. It seems solid.
That's so insanely good. And then everything else going on the bottom of your library in a random order, that way you're not losing those cards. This is an insane ramp spell. This is an insane ramp spell for 6 mana in a pot of 4 to go get 4 lands. I would gladly do that. And the fact that I could turn on an effect like this as early as, turn 4 in some instances, turn 3 in some instances, casting a 6 cost,
and it's any land. It's not just basics.
Exactly. It's any land. You're going to reveal the first 4 lands you get. They're going to have any implications that those lands have. So if you have to bounce something or whatever, if you have to but I think it's really good.
Yeah.
Amulet of Vigor does like this. That is true.
I really just like this card for what it represents as far as design space, because this is just like a circuitous route sort of in standard, because you can cast it for 4 to go get 2.
Yeah.
But it scales up for commander because of that one line of text. And I also love this design space they're continuing to pump support into, which is reveal until you hit the thing you need. Not just reveal the top 5, and if you're lucky, you get lucky. It's reveal until you get 4, if you're casting it like you said you're casting it. And so that's why I wanted to include it in this list, because it seems like it's not going to be talked about because the card itself is just, it's fine. It's solid. But I think that the design space being hinted at here is bigger than this card is my point.
I just like it as a scalable ramp spell.
Yeah.
It's like I can do it, if there's only 2 players left in the game, obviously we're only going to cast it for 4.
Right.
We're not doing the or we're going to cast it where X is 2. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a fun card.
Yeah, could be good. Hey, we did get Calix in here. Jake, maybe I did put your picks in here. The legends in here.
Did I put Calix on? I don't think I did.
Oh, maybe
this might have been your pick. 1 white, 1 green, 1 other for 2/2. When we talked about this card in the previous video, whenever Calix, Guided by Fate, or another enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on target creature. And whenever Calix or an enchanted creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you may create a token that's a copy of a non-legendary enchantment you control. Do this only once each turn. So when we talked about this previously, we brought up how this is going to be an auto include in the 99 of Enchantress decks. We don't really know how it would perform as a commander by itself at the helm of the deck. But if you're able to copy, because it says token, that's a copy of non-legendary enchantment you control. So think of if this is a counter-centric commander or going into a build that's going to have enchantments, you would want to copy stuff like Doubling Season, stuff like Hardened Scales, stuff that's going to synergize with the strategy behind this card. So I think in Enchantress decks, it's an auto include.
Yeah, it's an auto include in the 99 of Enchantress. That's why it's on the list. We talked about it as a commander in our tier list commanders from this set. Make sure you go check that video out. Nahiri's Resolve, 5 mana enchantment here. Boros and 3. Creatures you control get +1/+0 and have haste. And then at the beginning of your end step, so you get it the turn it comes in, exile any number of token artifacts and or creatures you control. Return those cards to the battlefield under their owner's control at the beginning of the next upkeep. So this is a Boros Conjurer's Closet for all of your creatures if you want.
Yeah.
The potential value here is insane. This card is brimming with potential energy.
Any number.
Dude.
So yeah, you bounce what you want. You know, I don't know if this was on your list, Joel, but it was on my list, and it's just one of these cards that's like, it's just busted, dude. It's just busted. It's a big enchantment. We know that enchantments are hard to remove. It's my favorite permanent type because it's just a passive effect that sits on the battlefield and warps how your MTG experience works. So that's what's cool about enchantments is it's like, oh man, now there's this game-breaking effect, and the more an enchantment costs, the more game-breaking the effect is. So this one costing 5, creatures you control get +1/+0 and have haste. I actually like that +1/+0. I'd be fine if this just said it gives them haste. I would honestly be fine if this enchantment just didn't have that first line of text and it just had the bottom line of text, which was blink your whole board. You
got to think about the synergies of that, because you are sending your creatures away until your next upkeep.
Sure.
David Chad pointed that out. It's not Conjurer's Closet because they don't come back to your next upkeep. But David also noted,
you have to have that.
Yeah,
you pretty much have to have that.
Exactly, because when they come back, you want to be able to attack with them, and so the haste
and they come back a little stronger.
Yep,
that's fun.
Exactly,
it's fun.
It also, David mentioned that it helps dodge sorcery speed removal. So Wrath of God, you're not going to get hit by on your creature board. They're going to have to figure out some instant speed board wipe to be able to actually board wipe you fully. And so it makes a fun decision, right? Because you got to decide which of your creatures on the battlefield you want protection for, and to take advantage of their ETBs again, right? Because that's what we're doing by blinking. Plus, what are you going to leave to be a blocking line and potentially be fodder for the board wipe? And so I think it's just a really interesting design space. It's a really interesting card for Boros. And that's a color combo that needs some interesting cards. It needs a sort of a refresh in its design space outside of equipment and draw a card. That's pretty much all these colors do nowadays. So I think it's cool. It's a sweet enchantment, really sweet enchantment.
Next up, we have Metropolis Reformer, 1 white and 2 other for a 2/3. Flying Vigilance, you have hexproof. Whenever Metropolis Reformer is dealt damage, you gain that much life. It is just a thorn in the side at 3 mana. It is like a baby Shalai. I love this card. I think that it's really cool. I love the converted. You can get it back with the Sun Titan. That's kind of like one of the things that I dig the most about this card is it's in that range of like easy to return.
It's got Ryan Panko cool. Start killing it.
This is good.
Jake, one of Jake's pet phrases is in MTG is you have hexproof. He is a huge fan of you have hexproof. I think that it's really cool. Providing hexproof to the player on a butt that can be reanimated, like Jake said, really cool. Just extra damage that if somebody blasphemous acts, you get 13 life in addition to your stuff dying. And so I think that, any amount of Darksteel Plate you want to equip to this creature, go right ahead, Jake. It's going to be your best blocker. It's got flying, it's got Vigi, it's got indestructible if we put Jake's Darksteel Plate on it. And that means it is attacking.
That's what they need to rename that card is Jake's Darksteel Plate.
Jake's Darksteel Plate. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a sweet card. It's definitely worth a look. Angels obviously wants it. Any utility angel that deck gets is going to be good. And so I think that people will want to take a peek at that one and see how it does. We were talking about that really fun removal spell that you like that is target player, and then they have to exile something. Exactly.
So this is one of those cards, just to kind of give you, at a glance in this video, a card that would directly negate an effect like that. This is why you like stuff like this.
Vlad of Bloodbath says Jake Steel Plate. I like that. Good working title.
Jake Steel Plate, yes.
We do need a secret layer version of there. Let's look at Drannith Ruins. Ikoria the human bastion has been destroyed, and now it is ruins. Reduced to a playground for Ikoria's monsters, according to the flavor text, if you believe such things. 2 mana. It's a land that taps for colorless, and 2 mana, you tap it to put 2 +1/+1 counters on target non-human creature that ETB'd this turn. All these haste decks that I've been pitching tonight certainly want this card.
Yeah, this card for me, I'm actually surprised that it's under $1 because I see this as a card that is just a little value late in the game in EDH. It's just like a little extra value on one of your creatures. And I know that we've talked ad nauseum about cards like Hardened Scales and Doubling Season and that kind of thing. But again, you know, you could have a Bird of Paradise enter in the worst top deck imaginable late game in EDH, have Drannith Ruins on the battlefield in a Doubling Season, and now all of a sudden you're putting, you know, 4 counters and a bird, and you have a 4/5 for, you know, 1 mana and then 2 in a tap here. So it's not the most amazing and impressive card in the world, but being able to put counters on something on a land, it seems pretty strong, and it seems worth considering.
Yep, it can go in any color deck. It's a utility card worth considering for sure. Anything, you know, I think about the green trample deck that we just had to play against from Zach on Monday. All of those being +2 power would have been even more damage to get through, even more annoying to deal with. And so, yeah, and like you said, any the whole Bird of Paradise thing feels roundabout, but anything that creates 2/2 flyers, I mean, turning those into 4/4 flyers, done and done. Like, that's all the selling I need on this card, right? Is this turns your spirits into 3/3s. Done. That's it. It's just already good.
The time restriction is a bit tricky, correct? Heffies says, and I do agree, because you have to tap 2 and you have to have that mana up in order to do this. There's something that can reduce the mana cost of this. That's going to be even better. But yes, you do need to be able to do it when it entered the battlefield. But do keep in mind, you could have situations where you're blinking things, and then you're able to make sure that you get the most out of this by, doing it after something comes in the battlefield, in scenarios like that.
I like Zach's point that modified decks want this. So any of those decks from Kamigawa that have to do with modification, I'm telling you, that Shishiro deck, it was the worst seller out of those commander decks, because the other one was like the robot mech one. Obviously, that's going to be the popular one. But that Shishiro deck, I've seen it pop off, bro. Creating creature tokens, putting counters on them. It looks for modified creatures and snowballs more. I think that, Corey, I know that you've played Shishiro. I just think, this does have a lot of potential. I think it could be really good. We get to Training Grounds. What is there to say about Training Grounds?
I like that this actually made the list, because it was worth a mention. Obviously, this is a good card.
It's fantastic in Commander, but that's known. We know this, but it's available now.
That's right.
It's going to be like a $5 card now versus the multiples 30. Of 10s it's been for so long. I think it was like
35-ish for a long time.
Yeah.
This card was printed in, oh man, I might be wrong, but Rise of the Eldrazi is where I think it first came up.
I believe so.
And yeah, this was a card that, if you look at this card's chart, it's honestly a hilarious chart, because for a very long time, this was a 25-cent card. This was a bulk rare from the set, and then Commander took off and this card just ripped, because people were like, now that is an enchantment. It is low to the ground. It only costs 1 blue, and activated abilities of creatures you control cost 2 less to activate. That is a massive reduction for the cost of this card and the potential that it grants for your commanders that want something like this. Card is just great.
It's a very good card. Nothing else to say about it. My anecdote about Training Grounds is that the first time this was ever played against me was by Biff. Friends of the channel.
That's right.
Friends of the channel know our friend Biff. He played it against us. Me and Jake both kind of laughed at him. We were just like, okay, really don't know why that's a slot in your deck, but all right. We kind of poke fun at him. And then his Tassiger deck that played it proceeded to whoop our ass. Cedrus, yeah.
It was Cedrus.
Because it was Unearth.
Cedrus has the Unearth.
And it turns it into 1 black.
Yep, it turns it into 1 black Unearth. Yep. And it is just...
He proceeded to wipe the floor with Cedrus with Training Grounds on the battlefield. And absolutely kicked our ass. And we were like, okay, yep, turns out that's a really good card. Got it. Strong.
Yep.
It's reprinted. Yep. Go pick up a copy when it gets down to like 5. I think this
he would always play great. He would unearth a bunch of stuff, and then he would wait to unearth Great Whale. That way he could untap a bunch of lands and keep unearthing. That deck would just like cast a ton of stuff all at once and then swing out. And Training Grounds was integral in that kind combo.
Yep. That takes us back around to filter out, and that is our list of the favorite commander cards. The set was only 50 cards, and we widely didn't discuss commanders because we mostly discussed those commanders on the tier list, so make sure you go check that out. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you for watching.
The tier list is above.
Yes.
Above chat.
Tier
all the
list
way up
is
in the top.
Up
by
there,
Nick Baker.
Up there in the corner by Nick Baker, the Monarch. All hail.
Wait, when did Nick Baker get in at Monarch?
When you walked away, Nick Baker dropped in, stole the Monarch for $30. All
Nick
hail.
Baker, all hail the stream Monarch. Okay, that's pretty dope.
So people watching on YouTube after the fact, thank you. Hit like and subscribe to YouTube stuff. Bye-bye. Okay, chat. Let's see if Joel's internet is working. That segment took way less time because there's only 50 cards in this set. Jake and I were both like, he was like, dude, I think there's like 5 or 6 I've got for you. And I was like, yeah, I've got about that many too. So we got a strong 10 or 12.
What we did notice from the tier list is that everything seemed like really strong generally.
A little more push than normal. And I think that has to do with they need to sell this set. They need cards in here that people want.
It has to be such a challenge to be working over there, trying to constantly come up with sets and constantly come up with story points to keep it moving at the breakneck speed that Hasbro really has them going. Because in my opinion, it's like, you know, it's like how do you continue to make cards that are interesting that people are going to be excited about when you have to do it so frequently? I just see it being such a challenge. It's like, I mean, and they've generally like avoided bannings pretty well for the last as long as I can in recent memory. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty nuts. Oh, what white creature did we miss? Was it the human one you were talking about?
Or deification? No, not deification.
How much for Jake to do the peanut butter jelly dance?
Answer honestly.
What is that dance? What is that dance?
It's this thing.
Show me it.
Okay, hang on, let me.
What is it? For me to do the peanut butter jelly dance? Is that it? It's
an old meme, but it checks out.
So it's like, well, I don't want to do it for free.
Don't do it for free, bro. They're definitely going to be jerking off to this later, so make sure you do a good one and set a good price.
Oh no, then $200. Jesus Christ, no.
Yeah, Corey, they didn't want to touch themselves to me.
You would have to do $200. There's no way that.
You got it. Jake's cost is $200 if you want him to send you a very specific picture for you to feel yourself to later.
$200 for the peanut butter jelly dance. That's it. No, definitely not. That's not happening.
I mean, honestly, bro, Jake OnlyFans win.
No, not for me.
You've already got, we already established you got your messenger bike, so you got a little fantasy thing going here. You show up to their house with a parcel.
Yeah.
It's too heavy for me to carry. Will you just take it inside and put it on that table? And we let things go from there, you know?
Right. That's worth saying.
Pretty good overall. Okay, so for some reason it's Chrome for me that is very stinky. So we're going to have to use Edge, but that's okay because we can go to TCG Player and very quickly kind of blaze through this last little segment. Probably less than 15-20.
Cool. We're just going to talk about the most expensive pre-sale cards from this set. And it's going to tell us a lot to our brains. And you do need to keep in mind that there are cards in this set. Based on what I've seen so far, let's just say this. It seems like, given the variants that we've seen from the collector boxes that were opened, it seems like they want this to be a commander centric like set where we're chasing like retro frame variants of cards and showcase frame variants of cards, because like the Karn that we talked about that we see here.
Yeah, hang on, we're on the wrong.
Niv-Mizzet.
If you're going into it, we're on the wrong scene right now.
No, I'm not going into it. I'm just talking about how I feel about this product, which is, we just reviewed in a tier list a bunch of sweaty, low cost commanders that a lot of them were like A and B tier or higher. And this product is going to bring us not only all of those cards, but like variants of all of those cards. And so we're supposed to, based on what they've put together, we're supposed to be salivating over the thought of getting these like showcase frame commanders and stuff like that. And so just keep that in mind as you go into this. A lot of these prices are going to race to the bottom. Let's remember what every set always does. It doesn't matter how cool it is. There's always a big adjustment.
Let's take a look at these.
Let's do it.
So we are looking at... Nope, we're not looking at it. Hang on. I gotta take off the last segment. I can do that very easily by doing like this. Bum ba bum. You like that, chat? That's my fancy little trick. I call it Joel's fancy little trick. I call a couple of things that, but that's not for discussion tonight. March of the Machine Aftermath, most expensive cards on pre-sale. Jake, we've said it before, we've said it again, you'll say it again, you've said it tonight. What do we say about pre-sale numbers on MTG cards?
We always say don't bring a clown to an elephant fight because the elephants will trample the clown, and then you're gonna have to get a dead clown into the car. You're going to have people that are going to help you lift that dead clown up and get him into the car. And you're going to make sure that you got to figure out where you're going to take the dead clown so that it doesn't stink up your car. So don't overdo it here, and make sure that you're patient and then pick up the singles at the right time.
Yep. The hardest part about hiding a body of a clown is all the squeaking and trying not to laugh. Looking at these, we've got all of the singles of the set, every single variant. We're not looking at foil prices unless it is a foil etched or a halo foil. Like some of these are, by default that treatment. But some of them, like you can see the Narset extended over here, that's just the extended art version of it. I'm sure the foil goes for much more. Karn Legacy Reforged, Sigarda Font of Blessings, and Narset Enlightened Exile at the top in the retro frame, the halo foil, and the extended art treatments. Now, with pre-sale prices on TCG Player, these a lot of times are just artificial, but it will at least show us out of the gate where the hype is. That's really all we can take from it. The numbers here are all fugazi. It's all fairy dust. But
that's such a good way to say it. Like, yeah,
the prices are nothing, but all we're looking at is their relative place in the hierarchy of expensive. So, Jake, it looks like people are really high on Karn, and we know that people are high on Sigarda. Sigarda's obviously good. Karn is a little less obviously good, but I mean, who's to say that that's not gonna see play in Legacy or something?
It's kind of cool to see our picks kind of line up with the tier list, or our the prices kind of line up with where we put stuff on the tier list. It's like these were all the ones that we rated the highest. So
there's also exceptions to that with Plargg and Nassi.
Plargg made it.
We definitely rated this one very low, but it seems to be in the top 5 currently.
And then Metropolis Reformer, the card that I like, actually has a very expensive Halo foil price. See, it's hard for me to be excited about Halo foils when there's so many different foils that have come out recently.
Have you seen Halo foils? Dude, have you seen a Halo foil in hand?
I haven't seen one in hand because I haven't opened one and looked at it, but is it really that exceptional? Have you seen one?
I haven't seen one in hand, but I've seen lots of pictures of them and moving pictures of them in the Discord. And I gotta say, and chat, weigh in on this, but the Halo foils are pretty knock your socks off, man. They look spectacular. If that's going to be their premium foiling, I think they've picked a good one to be their premium foiling.
Well, I would like to actually, maybe I'll order a cheap Halo foil. That way I can look at one and have it in hand, and maybe some that's like $10 or $20 or less or something. That way I could just have one and be kind of educated on what it's like, or go to the LGS and take a look. My question is this going to end up being one of those sleeper products that we thought was crappy and then it ends up being really good?
Is it
because
going
it's such a small set?
Exactly.
You know?
The question it becomes, is this the Winter Wonderland Eldraine pack secret layer of sets?
Yeah.
Is nobody going to buy this to open? Is everybody going to be like, I'm targeting singles for the first time in my life, I'm going to take the advice of like literally every MTG YouTuber, which is buy singles?
And then is it going to be the kind of thing that in like a year we look at EDH rec and a bunch of these 2 and 3 costs, or these 3 cost commanders, end up being really freaking good?
Right.
And then it's like, oh man, you remember that pushed Aftermath set where they printed all of those 3 CMC commanders and they all ended up taking over EDH because they were all just so busted and low to the ground and easy to break, you know? So there's different things to consider here. Make sure you mitigate your risk based on just our stream tonight and looking through the set more diligently, other than, you know, looking at some leaked pre-release boxes. I do think there are some cards in here that will probably have some standard application and some cards that may have some modern and pioneer application, and then obviously some cards that do look like they're going to be good in Commander. So I'm not gonna say that this set looks absolutely like booty cheddar like I did in the short, because in the short it was easy to just kind of look at, you know, a bunch of cards all at once and say, oh, this looks kind of lackluster. But when you look more closely at the cards, you know, it's like take the Training Grounds, for example, which it's like, we know it's a $30 card that's racing toward 10 and it's going to be 5, you know,
pre-ordering right now for like 12, like 16. Yeah. Like 16.
Yeah. And it's going to go way, way lower than that. And so, yeah, you take all of that into account, and yeah, maybe there is something more here, but we know that pre-sale prices are inflated. We know it.
Don't take these prices with any amount of seriousness at all. Again, we are only looking at these to see relatively where they're falling on the hype meter out of the gate. You've got some repeats, right? Your Narset, your Karn, you're seeing those in the top 15, in the top 20 cards. You're seeing those in the top 3, top 4 actually, and then repeated again in that top 10 or 20 as well. And so you're seeing those as hype pulls from this. I think that things like Metropolis Reformer and Halo Foil, I mean, look at this. Unless this variant is just so rare to get, which is another piece we should talk about, this is collecting this set. But unless this piece is just so rare to get, the standard version of Halo Reformer, just to have a playable copy, the extended version, is $16. And so that amount, that's too wide between those two prices for one of them to be real. Is Metropolis Reformer worth it and you need to be snapping these up at 16 so you can flip them at 25? I don't know. I wouldn't recommend it. But the difference, the spread on those two numbers is just so wide that it's notable. You got to go, is this price even real? Is the Halo Foil Metropolis Reformer going to be the 4th most expensive card in this set at the end of the day? I just really don't see how it could be. And we got to have some cards on here that aren't even playing. I mean, if we sort these by USD right here, what comes up over here? So these are what's coming up over here on USD. Scryfall and TCG Player have a hard time talking at the beginning of sets because prices are bouncing around like crazy. And, you know, there's not really sales so much as there's just people listing them for certain numbers, knowing that they're going to open enough product to get it. And so, you know, looking over here, our top 8 are Karn again. So I think we can say, you know, looking at these two websites and looking where Karn keeps falling, it seems like people are really hyped on this card. And this has a potential, you know, to, if it hits like people are thinking it's going to hit in whatever formats people are wanting to play it, I think that this one is potentially a big hit that you could hold on to. And, get some good value for down the line. It could also bust hard. The most overhyped card out of the set frequently dies off. And so is it that for this set? Maybe. I really love the art on this, I gotta say. The Sons of Mirrodin behind Karn got a little bit of goldness going on here. Love this version of Karn. Looks very cool.
Buzzfuzz says these prices are going to tank so hard since there's only 50 cards. And that's probably why they made sure that the collector booster product and the epilogue booster were a small amount of cards. They didn't want to put too many cards in those packs. But yeah, that said, there's not a big pool of cards to pull from. So it's the kind of thing where you're going to be getting multiple variants of everything. If you buy a collector box of this stuff, you're going to be getting, you're going to get some duplication.
Epilogue booster contents. You get a non-foil token or ad. You get 2 non-foil uncommons, which is the lowest rarity in this set. There are no commons in this set. You get 1 non-foil rare or mythic. You get 1 traditional foil uncommon rare or mythic. And you get 1 traditional foil or non-foil booster fun uncommon rare or mythic, which is the showcase or a retro frame card.
That's the money spot.
Yes, that is the only money spot in the epilogue booster. 5 cards in the epilogue booster. We've also got the epilogue aftermath collector booster, and that's going to provide us with a traditional foil double-sided token, traditional foil showcase uncommon, a foil etched uncommon, a traditional foil rare or mythic, a traditional foil or non-foil extended art rare or mythic, a foil etched rare or mythic, and then a halo foil or traditional foil booster fun rare or mythic, which is the showcase or retro frame cards. So Jake, to that point, what I was saying earlier, halo foils, the only place you're getting them is in collector boosters.
Yes.
And so halo foils from this set,
you have to pay the silly premium.
Right. That could be it. That
so 50 card set, and we get 5 cards in a collector booster. How many cards in a collector booster?
Collector booster is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
6. And how many of them are
1, 2, 3, 4,
uncommons?
5. Guaranteed uncommon 2.
And then everything else is going to be rare or mythic, right?
4 rares or mythics.
Okay, so let's do a little math here. It's going to be 4 times 12. That's going to be 48 rares and or mythics that you're going to open from this product. How many rares and mythics are there in March of the Machine Aftermath altogether?
In boosters,
is there a way that we can take out uncommons and just look at rares and mythics?
Let's look at all 230. Yeah, absolutely. Minus rarity, uncommon. Minus.
Yeah, because there's no commons. It's only rares, mythics, and uncommons in this set.
Am I missing the command up for this?
There you go.
Yeah,
35.
35.
So if we're getting 48 rares or mythics from a collector booster box, we should, in theory, get some duplication. We might miss a couple of them, but we should get a pretty good spread of all the rares or mythics by buying 1 collector booster box.
Now that's all treatments is 35. All treatments.
Right. That's all the rares and mythics total, right?
If you look at
not taking into account. That is all treatments.
That's all treatments. If you look at just the 50 cards in boosters, minus rarity, uncommon.
No, it is 35. Okay. So yeah, that's correct.
Gotcha.
So yeah, you're going to get a good spread. You're going to get a good spread of stuff. Yeah, old school MTG did open a ton of duplications. I remember seeing 3 training grounds in one. But this will be a set that will be pretty easy to, pick up the bulk of it. There might be a couple cards like Joel was talking about that are going to be standouts, like the Karn, that are going to be expensive, but I would still expect big adjustments on those. TCG player, it's like, take these prices with a grain of salt. But also, if you are ordering cards from TCG, then use our TCG affiliate link. It helps out the channel a great deal. Take these prices with a grain of salt because you can manipulate market data over here. So just know that all of these are going to drop.
Man, this is a
good
weird
uncommons.
set.
Very well may have good value, like the Oni that Joel was talking about that he likes.
That's CEDH blue card. Yeah, it's just like, you know what I think it's going to be, Jake? I think that there is a lot of wait and see with this set because we don't really know what's going to happen with it. We don't really know, you know, how the distribution is going to truly work, what is going to be super rare from the set or what's going to be widely available. The base copies seem like they should probably race to the bottom, you know, but at the same time, see, you got cards like the extended Calix, market price unavailable because it hasn't been listed. The Halo foil special treatment of Samut. I mean, like, this card, there's no way that that's just settling down here at the bottom of the list. And so you got some cards not even showing true prices yet. It's just interesting to see out of the gate sort of where everybody's head's at on what they want. Look at this Ikoria treatment for this uncommon Snubhorn. It's hilarious.
Oh, that's fun.
Sweet little uncommons got the
So you said in collecting Aftermath, how many rares or mythics were guaranteed in the epilogue booster, not the collector booster?
In the epilogue booster, you've got a guaranteed 1 non-foil rare or mythic, and then in a bad booster, your other 2 hits could be 2 uncommons.
Got it. So an epilogue booster pack or booster box going for around $70 currently.
Yeah. And
that has 24 lore packed epilogue boosters. So you're getting a minimum, okay? If you're buying a $60 or $70 box, depending on where you get it, you're getting a minimum of 24 rares and or mythics from that list that we were talking about. And again, there are 35, okay? Now that means that you're going to get a minimum of 24. I would say that you're probably going to end at around 30 to 35 if I had to guess, maybe 35 plus, because you're going to have some of those slots where it says you could get an uncommon. You're going to be getting rares, you're going to be getting mythics. So I think that for me, if I was trying to get a good spread of the cards, I think I'm going the epilogue booster box and not the collector box. That seems like a good way to get a good spread of stuff in here and not break the bank.
Even though this one has 4, oh yeah, not breaking the bank is really the important piece of that one, because this one's got 4 guaranteed rares or mythics, so you're gonna get at least, it's gonna give you a better chance of getting at least a copy of all of the rares and mythics in here, regardless of what treatment you get. So I think collector booster is, if you're for some reason trying to open boxes to collect the cards, then you know, the collector booster's not that terrible in this one at giving you a full look at the set itself.
So in the collector box, for example, which is going for around 220, keep this in mind. Collector box, you're guaranteed getting 48 rares and or mythics. But if you were to take that budget, you could buy 3 epilogue booster boxes for that same price, and then you would be guaranteed 24 times 3 rares and or mythics, which would end up being 72. You'd be guaranteed 72 if you don't care about the special treatments. So really, the collector box is going to be about going after those Halo treatments if you believe that some of these commanders are going to be have staying power in eternal formats, modern, pioneer, commander. So that's definitely something I would think about. You would be able to get a good spread for the cards if you don't care about variants, then just go for the regular epilogue packs.
Along that same line, if you're spending that much, $300 or so, what'd you say for the 3 boxes?
3 boxes is going to come out to 210.
So
210. It's going to be less than one collector box.
Isn't there a chance that you can get all 50 base version cards in here for under $200 at the end of all this?
I think you could probably go to the secondary market a couple weeks after this comes out and just go cherry pick and buy stuff for dollars. Yeah.
I mean, in general,
cards.
Our advice for these new set releases is wait and see, buy singles, start looking around 4, maybe start to buy around 6 weeks after a set comes out. Because by then we'll be moved on to the next preview season with WotC, and everybody will have opened all their product and built the decks they want to build and be looking to offload stuff, and everybody, the prices will all go down just because nobody's paying attention to it anymore anyway. So even more with this one, I'm skeptical and I want to see. This is going to be an interesting video because right now we're just seeing generally how they relate to each other as far as price. We're not seeing real numbers here, obviously, but
yeah,
it is going to be interesting to watch this set in particular over the next month or two after it comes out and see where these prices settle. So if you're watching this on YouTube after the fact, make sure you're subscribed and you're hanging out with us live, because this will be a topic that we revisit in the next 4 to 6 weeks. And, you know, really once everybody's moved on to Lord of the Rings and they're done with the big story moment in the main sets, you know, I think that it'll be interesting to go back and look and see, all right, what are those aftermath prices at? So
what they do.
Make sure you're liked and subscribed.
How cheap is Training Grounds?
Yeah. Can we all pick up Training Grounds for $3 now? We will see. We will see. Cool, chat. Well, we got through all our segments tonight. I hope y'all liked the show.
How's everybody doing? Everybody hanging out? Everybody enjoying?
Any other topics related to Aftermath that y'all think we missed or should talk about? Because
Matt says only the reprint is a must-buy.
This will be our
Training Grounds.
This will be our full review of the set. So speak now or forever hold your peace if there's something you want us to cover.
Somebody earlier did ask this question. They said, when do you think is the best time to pick up singles from this set? And you know, I would typically say 4 to 6 weeks, but I might even like make it more abbreviated than that, because there's so many new products that they're doling out constantly that I would say you could even probably start like 3 to 4 weeks after the set comes out and just start looking then. It really comes down to have a price that you're willing to pay for the card, and then once you buy it, be okay with it dipping below that price, or, you know, just make sure that you know where you want your onboarding price to be and be fine with that. That's the best way to do it. Say, you know, you want to buy Training Grounds at 5 and currently it's at 10. Well, then be patient. Now it could go down to 7 and it could never get to 5. It could go to 6 and never get to 5. But
to
if it goes to 5, then great. Yeah.
Jake, sorry to interrupt you. To answer your question,
that's okay.
Let's look back at Dominaria Remastered.
Yeah.
This set came out in January. So back in January, this card was in the 80s. We're talking about the top hit in this set.
Yeah.
Force of Will Borderless. This was in the 80s, right around release. Started dropping to 70s. Now we're into 60s. Dropping down lower. Can we breach 50s? It looks like it sort of bounced off the 60 line because it was going steadily down towards that 60 line. And then at around 62, it turned up.
Yep.
The foil itself dips down below 100 and banks back up. Dips down below 100 and maybe it banks back up. So you kind of look at this chart and you go, okay, let's look at what? Double Masters?
Well, yeah, Double Masters is terrible.
Top hitting that Imperial Seal Edge foil. Wowie, wow, wow, wowie, wow, wow, wow. 133 from over $300. From over, let's say realistically, it was over 200 for quite some time. It was over 200 for almost 3 months after release, and then it held at 180 for a long time, and then it's turned into the pooper down into the 133s. And so honestly, as long as you can wait, in a lot of cases, as long as you can wait. But look at this one.
That card's good.
100s. Yeah, it turns out here, let's Jake and Joel review of Dockside Extortionist. It's good.
I mean, we should play a game called Guess If It's a Crypto Chart or an MTG chart, because they all look the exact same. This is bad. That is not a good chart either. I mean, this is the economy though, man. The economy is not in a good way. You go to the store and everything is $5. It's like you get a toothbrush is $5, a freaking a box of Cheez-Its is $5, a bag of chips is $5, a can of soda is $5. You could buy a freaking 99-cent pack of gum and it's $5. All $5. And so, yeah, all of the cards, they're bottoming out. The time to sell was when the economy was ripping. This is why the people that are able to just see their cards as money are able to get the most out of their collection, because what they do is they do not covet what they have. They get rid of it when it goes up in price, and then they buy it cheap when it gets reprinted. I have so many missed opportunities. I have a Ultimate Masters foil at Phyrexian Altar that I held when it went all the way up to 160. If you were to search an Ultimate Masters foil altar, I guarantee you it's around like 40 or 50 bucks because of the recent altar foil reprint.
Tim, so it's like, I agree. The time to buy is now. I mean, look at this, Jake.
That's right.
These double masters charts are actually showing me that they have bottomed. This all looks like constantly, and then starting ticking up, especially in February of this year. Like, we're deep into this stuff. And so this is
low
like
risk.
Low risk entry.
At that point, those were the people that had that onboarding price. What did I say Ragavan would go to? Mid 40s? What's Ragavan at now that the monkey got reprinted in a big way in March of the Machine? Has it gone sub 50? Was I correct?
Lowest obtainable price.
Not yet. It's not there yet.
Is 53.
We're getting close, but it's not there yet. Look at that though. It's going. That's a dead cat bounce there at the bottom. Now what's going to happen after that is we're either going to tick back up and it's going to start climbing back, or it's going to be a little head, and we're going to have a little head and shoulders, and it's going to keep going down. And we're going to see, because this card has only recently had this reprint. So
dead monkey bounce.
I mean, if they end up putting this in Commander Masters, you're going to see an even bigger drop on Ragavaga Ding Dong. Corey G says everything.
Corey G with the $5 super chat just says everything.
Thank you, sir.
Chat, that's going to do it for us tonight. We're going to get out of here. New video tomorrow. Yes, Jake?
Yes.
New video tomorrow. Make sure you go watch it. If you haven't yet watched the last video that we posted that wasn't a live stream about the devil and the MTG and a small town's fight against Satan having influence on their children via magic cards, make sure you go and watch that one. It was a blast. I don't think enough people watched that for how good that one is. But new video out tomorrow. Make sure you check it out. Everybody, thank you for hanging out tonight.
Hey, whoa,
we got to do the Patreon.
MH2 Ragavan is 4906.
There you go.
POA. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah.
Almost forgot. I'm going to run the patron giveaway real fast. If anybody wants to jump into the giveaway, make sure you go join the Patreon. Just 1 minute before you do this.
You
got till Jake gets back. Go join the Patreon if you want to get in on this giveaway. There's a link right there. We're going to give away 2 $40 gift cards to TCG Player right now. Got a link to our Patreon right there in chat if you want to go join in on these. We'll get this done and then we'll call it a night. Big thanks to all our patrons helping us make this our full-time job one day. Y'all are absolute legends. We got some cool stuff happening over the next few months, y'all. We really do. Lot that I can't wait to share with you of cool things. Very cool things. So as soon as Jake's back, we are going to run this. I'm going to put our current patrons in there. If anybody joins in by the time Jake gets back and we run this, we will add you to the list. Everybody get potted up for the league this month. No, Darth Brando, we're not going to be on Command Zone.
Hey, Sushi Yums with the $5. Thank you so much.
Sushi Yum Yums, $5 for hard work. Thank you.
Okay, I wanted to talk to people about this last time on Monday, and I forgot what it was that I wanted to say, but I remember it now.
Hit us.
And so for anybody,
y'all got till the time Jake's done talking. I'm gonna run this when Jake's done talking, and
that's right.
The patrons are gonna receive 2 gift cards. So go join if you want to. Jake, take it away.
Everybody who hasn't watched it, I want you on Netflix to watch King of Collectibles. If you haven't seen it, it is a show that I think everybody here would truly enjoy. And so definitely go look up that show and watch all of these crazy like sports cards, Pokemon cards, all sorts of different stuff. Yeah, I think it's something that people here would really enjoy. So if you haven't seen that, King of Collectibles on Netflix is definitely worth a watch. It's so totally like this community's kind of shit. So I feel like some people would really enjoy it.
Oh yeah. All right. Random.org. Let's make it a little bit bigger.
Buzz, I loved beef. We loved it.
So these are all of our current patrons. As I scroll through this list, so you can see that your name is in fact on there, Jake's going to roll a D6, hopefully, and tell me how many times to randomize this list. Top on the list and the bottom on the list are going to win the $40 TCG Player gift cards for the month of May. If you're a winner, you don't have to do anything in this case. Being a patron of ours, I will reach out to you, confirm your email address, and get you a gift card via email so that you can go pick up your favorite Halo foil from March of the Machine Aftermath.
It's a 6.
We're randomizing it 6 times. 1, 2, and you can see right here we've randomized this list 2 times. Can I see that behind me? Yeah, randomized this list 2 times.
You can see it.
3, 4, 5. Last time here, top and bottom are our winners. We've got KB and we've got Lance Cothern of Cothern Cards Rip and Ship. Lance Cothern, do you want to take a $40 gift card or double it and send it to the next person? I'm just kidding. That's not an option. Lance Cothern and KB, you are our winners for the month of May. I will be reaching out.
Getting in.
Yeah,
I love that.
Getting in. I will be reaching out to confirm your email and getting some gift cards over to you and making sure that you get your money.
Everybody, thank you so much for hanging out tonight. This has been really fun. We appreciate all of the support. And yeah, man, March of the Machine Aftermath comes out, I believe, May 12th. Is that what it was? I might be wrong about that. We'll have to check, but it's right around the corner. And then we have Lord of the Rings shortly after that and all sorts of upcoming products, I'm sure.
Jeez, I've all of a sudden hit a yawn fest.
Well, that's okay. You go get some sleep. That's fine.
MTG LOTR debuts. So we'll be live on Tuesday the 30th, which is 4 weeks from now. 4 weeks from last Tuesday, 2 days ago. The 30th of May. That'll be a midday stream, and it'll be one of those things where they're showing off the set. We're seeing all the new stuff. So we've got a couple of weeks here, a few weeks while Aftermath releases. We're sort of in that in-between period now that we've seen all the cards from that set. So next big one we'll be back for is on the 30th, but we'll be streaming Mondays and Wednesdays between now and
J
then.
Dub says, "Peace, boys. Peace, chat. Y'all rock, bros. Doctor Who for the win. Thank you all.
Got that
Grats
coming
next
up.
Friday. Good stream. Y'all take care. Rip and ship. Night, daddy. Good night, my son.
Good night, our
Expect
son.
leaks next week. Good night, our son."
Yeah, we have. Yeah, I think the regularly scheduled leaks begin next week, so that they can go ahead and get us pre-hyped for Lord of the Rings. I think they're gonna find some maybe at a Buc-ee's in somewhere in the Midwest. They're gonna go in the bathroom.
Yeah,
And they're gonna be like,
Buc-ee's.
"I found a collector booster box of Lord of the Rings in the Buc-ee's bathroom. I
It's
opened
got
it.
a one of one ring.
I got the one of one ring. What does this mean? Can I sell this
It
for
means-
$1,000?"
Just so anybody knows, if you do open the one of one ring, there is there's an open bid over here. We're buying it for $1,000 for anybody who's interested.
That is our public offer. Retweet.
Please retweet that.
Please retweet this. Everybody, good night. Good night.
Yeah.
We
Thank
love
you all so much.
1,000 times
Have a
good night.
nice rest of your week. Have a nice weekend. And
Watch
tomorrow,
the new video tomorrow and go comment. I
Tomorrow-
was at the stream live when I saw y'all talk about this. Write all this down real fast. I was at the
it's
stream
about
and saw y'all talk
Oh, yeah,
about this,
go.
and now it's here. And I'm so excited to hear Jake talk about a story that's personal to him and also a good story in general. Just I can't get over how good this video is. I'm going to share it to 10 friends. That's what I need you to go comment on tomorrow's video.
that's it. That would be great. Everybody make it as in-depth as that, and I think that video has some real staying power. It's about me spending tons of money chasing Battle for Zendikar expeditions, and it's also great because I'm able to get rid of all of these old Battle for Zendikar commons, tell the story of what is honestly one of the stupidest things when you look back on it in hindsight, when you're living in the variant era where Wizards of the Coast is full pedal to the metal and they're printing special frames on every single card. Eventually people aren't going to know the difference between those old variants and the new stuff, and it's going to be up to people that were there to remember that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's a video that's about me taking a bath on Battle for Zendikar. It has this little booklet in it, which is fun. You know, this is always an old throwback, seeing these old books. This is why I could never learn to play the game as a kid. I didn't want to go to a store and be like, "Hey, will someone please teach me how to play MTG?" And obviously, everyone knows I can't read, and it's too many pages.
All hail tonight's stream monarch, Nick Baker. Ending the stream as the stream monarch. Everybody, good night. Catch y'all later. Parting in such sweet sorrow.
Good night.